Right on. Right on.
Right on. Right on.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, July 5th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1048.
This is No Agenda.
Celebrating even more acronyms than before and broadcasting live from the Camel of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're asking, if they abolish ICE, how will we make cocktails? I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yeah, a joke I have not heard yet. No one made the connection. Well, that is
taking it too seriously, maybe.
No. I did get a good email, by the way, from one of our producers who was a former member of CBP.
Okay.
Yeah, because we always get everything mixed up. This is
we do.
Paul, U.S. Border Patrol, retired and douchebag. Things have changed since Department of Homeland Security came into effect, and so let me run this down so people understand exactly whose role is what at the United States border. I will read this to you verbatim. I know I mentioned this before. There is no Customs and Border Patrol anymore. CBP stands for Customs and Border Protection. The U.S. Border Patrol is a component of CBP, as is ICE. They're all under DHS. Much of the media make the same mistake, understandable, but not accurate. That's why we are the best podcast in the universe. We try to correct things. ICE was formed at the onset of Homeland Security in 2003 and combined legacy INS criminal investigators with U.S. Customs criminal investigators. So there you go. So it's not like it was a bunch of other things folded into one. Interestingly, it's not always easy. It was not always easy then, and probably not now, to get ICE to even work immigration cases, since many of the legacy customs investigators couldn't speak Spanish. Spanish language ability was mandatory within INS enforcement agents, but in recent years, their focus is back on aliens in a bigger way. And then he goes into the checkpoints, which, if you don't mind, I'll just read that too, so we understand exactly what the rules are on that. Interior checkpoints within 100 air miles are operated by the U.S. Border Patrol. I spent 15 years working at 3 checkpoints before transferring to a line station where we work the border itself. I'm happy to see you research that checkpoints are upheld by the Supreme Court. The idea behind them is a secondary line of defense to funnel and apprehend illegal traffic after it has made it away from the actual border. A factor that was instrumental in making checkpoints so prolific was the court's propensity towards suppressing roving patrol traffic stops. The government used to be able to legally get away with stopping everyone, so that's why this was changed. Okay. And then, regarding asylum, which, as we talked about on the last episode, it's not so much the immigration system that is broken, but the asylum requirements, which allow you to request asylum even after entering the United States illegally. And so our friend Paul here says the U.S. is being gamed by asylum seekers. The vast majority of claims will be denied since their real reason for coming is financial. Activist groups and the open borders people are spreading the word to ask for asylum and please bring children along to bog down the ability to detain pending a decision. It buys time, and if you're released, you can just disappear. The answer is either changing the law or simply speeding up the adjudication process. Conduct credible fear interviews and asylum hearings every day at detention centers, then immediately remove those who are denied. When I was still on the job until 2010, it was very rare for any OTM, which stands for other than Mexican, to even claim asylum. Well, isn't that interesting? So in 2010, it was really only people from Mexico who were claiming asylum.
No, he didn't say that.
It was rare for any OTM other than Mexican to even claim asylum.
He says OTM other than Mexican?
Yes.
How can a Mexican claim asylum?
Well, they can't. I think that's his point. He says most of them are bogus. Yeah. Anyway, so now we understand a little better where ICE comes from. But no matter what, ICE has got to go.
Made an error in there. I think he made an error.
I did?
Sorry?
What's the error?
And I think this is an error I want to discuss.
Okay.
because it's a common error. It just showed up a Schiff or somebody else said, people, are claiming the Democrats are for open borders, and he's used the term open borders. Everybody is missing the point, and all you have to do is look around and listen. And I've got clips that will tell you this. They don't want open borders.
They want no borders.
They want no borders.
Yes. Yeah.
An open border.
That's interesting. Yes.
An open border assumes there's a border to open.
Right.
They don't want borders.
Well, if you listen,
no borders, no nations. Hello.
That's right. And if you listen to the No Borders, No Nations people, especially Ocasio-Cortez, she speaks of the border as needing protection for people to have safe passage. Which is like, we're just going to protect you across the line. Yo, you're good. Okay, welcome. Nothing happened when you crossed. Everything's groovy.
Yeah, this is like the old idea that was used in movies as a bromide, where you're running out of the county, you're going as fast as you can, and then you cross the state line, and all the cars come to a screeching halt.
The cops, oh, shoot, man, we can't get him now. We made it. I think Dukes of Hazzard still kind of kept those rules in play. As long as we can make it across the state line.
Well, boss, what are we going to do now?
Oscar. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting
we've got to get that. I have a series of clips.
Okay.
We've got to get it out of our heads that these people are anything other than rank communists trying to destroy the nation's sovereignty. And they were making a big fuss about everything on 4th of July, which I will also mention, is Independence Day. People have called me out for saying 4th of July.
I heard you and Horowitz talking about it, and it definitely was a thing on Thursday, 4th of July, where people were specifically saying, we don't celebrate a date, it's Independence Day. And it was pretty much all Dimension A right-wing people saying it.
Yeah, no, it was all right-wingers, but I think they have a point. And the point is this is was yesterday. It was Independence Day. That's the celebration. 4th of July is the date.
Right.
And so it's kind of a 4th of July, but you kind of combine the two and you think of that. But that's not what's – and I think what the objection is by the Dimension A people is that, hey, we're losing sight of what this is about. It's about independence from foreign rule.
Yeah.
I'll read. I'm going to read a Gavin Newsom tweet on the 4th of July. He never mentions Independence Day. And just listen. This is Dimension A at this height. Is Gavin Newsom.
Dimension B, he would be.
I'm sorry. Dimension B at its height. Happy 4th of July. Today we celebrate our founding principles and values of liberty, diversity, and opportunity for all. May we be a country that believes that no matter who you are, who you love, or where you come from, of course, who you love is referring to gay marriage. Where you come from is referring to illegal immigration. You should receive every opportunity to achieve, not pursue, but achieve happiness. Now, this has got nothing to do with independence. Everything he said has zero to do with independence. And I think what the right-wingers want to do, or the Dimension A folks, they're not all right-wingers, they want to reestablish the fact this is Independence Day. It's not Gay Marriage Day.
It's not Bill of Rights Day.
It's not Bill of Rights Day.
That is an excellent point, and it's really not well understood. Or people just don't learn history anymore, I guess. And even yesterday here at the common law condo, we have a pool deck. So we went down there when the fireworks started, which was supposed to start at 9:30, but it was raining yesterday, so they started a little bit early. John, it was the weirdest thing. It was quiet. There was no music. We didn't even have the 1812 overture. No, there was no music at all. And just the fireworks going on.
Weird for Austin.
Yes, but you know what I noticed is you'd hear some people like, not even oohs or ahs. To me, Tina disagrees, but to me it felt like people were apprehensive to be really joyous and celebrate, just throw your hands up and go, woo, 4th of July, Independence Day. In fact, I heard one or two people and it must have been 100 people out there, go, America, which was clearly a bullshit joke. So people were uncomfortable. They felt like celebrating Independence Day would be to America, would be to Trump somehow. And I really felt the pressure from everybody. It was very strange.
I think it could be something else, but maybe both Tina's kind of right. Maybe you're kind of right. I think, I have a clip that may explain it, why everyone was apprehensive.
Okay.
CBD for dogs.
Well, 4th of July usually means fireworks, and while it can be fun for people, it can be frightening for pets. ABC 7 News reporter Kate Larson joining us live now from Pier 39 to explain the buzz around a new trend to calm our four-legged friends. Kate.
Dion, that's right. And here at Pier 39, the fireworks will be in full effect tomorrow night. Very exciting, but maybe not so much for all of our cats and dogs. And while pets being afraid of fireworks is nothing new, the way people are dealing with their pets' fear is new, with cannabis that you can buy at local dispensaries. For centuries, people have set off firework displays, and likely for just as long, animals have cowered in fear.
She's very scared of fireworks. She usually hides behind the couch or under the bed.
These are both pet CBD products.
Enter cannabis for canines. As the 4th approaches, Buddy's Dispensary in San Jose has sold a lot of these doggy CBD tinctures.
It's not psychotropic, so in other words, it doesn't give you that high effect, but it does have some calming properties to it. So folks do give it to their pets, cats and dogs.
Ever since legalization, every day we have questions about it.
Robert Brandvold is a registered veterinary technician at Arguello Pet Hospital in San Francisco. While the pet parent demand exists, vets cannot prescribe cannabis products because the drug is still illegal under federal law.
There's a lot of discussion about it. Some veterinarians do believe in the efficacy of CBD and products, some don't. And a lot of it is just we don't have enough information.
While more research is needed, one thing is clear about cannabis. THC is toxic to cats and dogs. Only CBD products are potentially animal safe.
Dogs are people, too.
Okay. So what do you think people are...
So was your...
Yes. Yes.
So they're all silent and worried.
Worried about their pets?
Yeah. The dogs are going to freak out because there's going to be big booms. Oh, baby, it's a boom. It's okay, it's a boom.
You know what? I'm going to give you a point for that because another just continuous trending meme. Now, it's always around on New Year's Eve and 4th of July date. Careful for your pets. But now, and I should have captured a couple of them. I definitely saw the... dog parents, make sure that your kids are okay tonight. They get really afraid. And, there was a lot of this stuff going on. So, yeah, maybe they were all just worried about their dogters.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm surprised you didn't pick up on that vibe inside the place. Now,
but before you go back to ICE, I just want to mention one thing.
I don't want to go back to ICE. I just wanted to comment on that clip one last thing. They said that THC is deadly to dogs and cats. I didn't know that, by the way.
I didn't either.
I do remember back in college when kids used to blow
smoke into your pets. Yeah, and you would get them high.
To get them stoned.
They didn't die. They got funny.
Yeah. So I don't know. Wondering about that.
I will say this one interesting tidbit about the Declaration of Independence, which is what we were celebrating. Some guy posted the Declaration of Independence to the Facebag, and Facebag said, let me see, Section 10, which is paragraphs 27 to 31, it flagged it and blocked it as hate speech. Which I think is just great.
I saw this story, and I would like to see actual evidence that this is not bull crap.
I agree. I'd like to see it too. But it wouldn't.
A good bit. It's funny.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, I would not be shocked if it was true, but I wonder if it's true.
Well, you got to wonder with just about everything.
Well, that in particular, when you have, it's just, it fits in too many, and too many paradigms that just match what we're trying to do. Bash Facebook kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'd like to see some proof. Anyway, so I have some ICE clips. We had a protest, abolish ICE.
Yes,
but this.
Did you get the news about the celebrities doing the 24-day hunger strike?
I think, didn't we do a thing on the hunger strike a couple of shows ago?
I thought we did, but it was promoted again, and maybe they promoted it only as maybe it's gotten to become a 24-hour strike.
No, this was the same thing. You can find the clip. I think it's this hunger strike or 24-hour. It's from 3 or 4 shows ago. And I'm pretty sure we played it. Either that or I just bagged on it.
Okay. Well, it's all right. Look, we haven't seen anyone starving, so I'm sure it passed. It's kind of like everyone moving to Canada.
Oh, it's just I can slim down for my next role.
Well, yeah. Alec Baldwin needs to keep his fighting weight if he wants to keep his SNL gig. And he was one of the main guys who was going to be there.
Oh, yeah. He's not doing anything.
No.
He's a phony. So let's go to, we had a little abolish ICE, and the signage was the same. Abolish ICE, abolish borders, stop deportation. That's
and
much...
abolish profit. I saw that in the newsletter.
Yeah, the abolish profit one's rare. They keep that one to a minimum.
Yes, and it's dynamite, though. I love abolish profit.
Yeah, but they mean it. They mean that's what they want, and they're socialists.
Yeah,
and they come out now. They're sort of blatant about this report, which is I cut into 4 pieces, is about the abolish ICE protests in San Francisco, which is a leader in these sorts of things. They've got a whole street blocked off, and people are blocking the ICE headquarters, and they're not going to be moved until they're dragged out by the government. Let's go with 1.
Protests continue tonight in San Francisco, calling for the abolishment of ICE. The demonstrators are not giving up hope that their message will be heard.
We're going to be out here until the government literally drags us from this location.
Happening now, a block party in San Francisco outside the office.
I didn't notice this until now. You have to back it up and start over.
Oh, okay.
This woman that talks, and she talks a couple of times. You can spot her voice very easily because I didn't realize until I just heard it now. It sounds like a dead ringer for Janine Garoppolo.
Oh.
Protests continue tonight in San Francisco, calling for the abolishment of ICE. The demonstrators are not giving up hope that their message will be heard.
We're going to be out here until the government literally drags us.
Yeah, she's close. Not exactly, but I agree. She's close.
From this location.
Happening now, a block party in San Francisco outside the offices of immigration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's black, and she's got one of those nose rings that's like the cow thing.
Yeah, that you hook a leash onto. Yeah, so I do with my daughter. Click, yeah.
And Customs Enforcement. It's the 3rd day now that this group has been outside ICE headquarters, and the crowd is continuing to grow. Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Somerville.
And I'm Julie Hayner. The movement was sparked by President Trump's zero-tolerance policy that separated families at the border before the president halted those separations on June 20th. We get live coverage tonight from KTVU's Christina Rendon. She's in San Francisco now with more on the message behind the demonstration. Christina.
The message.
Well, Julie, Frank, there are more than 200 people here on Washington Street in the financial district. And behind us, they have created a literal blockade of this street. Their main goal here is to block ICE.
Oh, do you think that was intentional?
Apparently it was because it became a meme. Block ICE.
Okay.
Blockade of this street. Their main goal here is to block ICE. On this 4th of July in San Francisco, a block party has taken over the 400 block of Washington Street. Activists with Occupy SF ICE are camped out in front of ICE headquarters, calling for the federal agency to be abolished. The group says this is not a celebration of Independence Day. It's a celebration of resistance.
We are hoping for, if there is an insistence on processing people who are coming to this country without documents, even though there should be no concept of illegal immigration, to do so in a way that does not criminalize them, that does not detain children either on their own or families indefinitely.
So they're making the mistake here that ICE processes people, because that's what they're block
they're
ICE.
Making
a lot of mistakes.
They're making a lot of mistakes. It's really going to hurt the Democratic Party, and they're kind of given free rein by both the media and the Democrats at large, and it's going to be a problem down the road.
Yeah, let's finish this.
Activists here stand in solidarity with undocumented immigrants from around the world following President Trump's immigration policies. They say since ICE was created in 2003, it has attempted to transform state and local law enforcement agencies into deportation machines.
Oh.
They call it a violation of human rights.
Just got the troll room, I have to say, came up with a better one. Logan 5, crush ICE. I think that's even better than block ICE.
That is better.
Isn't it? Good work.
Crush
show title right there.
Someone will get crush. Oh, that's yeah. You got it. Show title.
Crush ICE. It could catch on. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right. I probably had some thoughts on that one, but let's go to number 2.
Yeah.
We see that this is not a just society, and it is our duty to stand up and to fight against that and to fight for a socialist society, for one that actually does enshrine rights for people into law.
Throughout the day, the crowd, tents, and signs multiplied, enough for the street to be shut down.
Boo.
She wants to enshrine rights in a new socialist society. These guys are really off the wall.
Yeah, they don't even have socialism right. They don't. They don't.
No, they actually.
I tell you, when I moved to the Netherlands in 1972, and I was young man. I was 7. But I remember
that's a boy.
I remember my parents. Believe me, I had to grow up quick. I remember my parents were bitching and moaning about the income tax, which in 1972, plus or minus a point, was about 90%. 90. Now, almost everything was free when it came to schooling, university, or higher education, and medical.
Bitching about them. 90% is a little high.
90, John. It was 90.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. It's these days. I think it's still.
It's close to that in Denmark.
It's still in the 60s.
Yeah.
So, yay.
Yay, socialism.
Yay, socialism. Yeah.
Well, again, this woman she says she's a socialist. She also, this whole group is blatant socialists, and they think that, they don't realize that Bernie Sanders, was a socialist, but Bernie Sanders hid it. He didn't run as a socialist.
He never said no borders. I never heard him say no borders.
And he never said anything about taking away the sovereignty of the country. No borders would mean a number of events. For example, this trade war with China wouldn't happen because Chinese can just ship all the ships they want. They bring the ships and dock them, just pay the docking fee and unload all the stuff you want because there's no borders.
No borders.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't have any trade with Canada? No, there's no border. Back and forth, who cares? I mean, the no borders, no sovereignty thing, which is what they really don't. They won't say that. But it's no borders, no nations no borders, no sovereignty.
Well, what is baffling to me is when you see the European Union, which is, I'd say, a lot of it certainly has socialist holdovers, and they tried the no borders. It was called the Schengen area. And guess what? It didn't work out so well, and they had to, temporarily suspend, or many countries have temporarily suspended the whole no borders concept because people were, guess what, running into their countries. So it's kind of
it's idealism. It's not only idealism, but it's stupid idealism. Now, I think worse than the stupid idealism that we have to deal with, or the Democrats have to deal with, is what I call useful idiots, and that is what you're going to hear next in the next part of this clip. Is they throw at the man on the street.
Oh,
and it starts off with some. These are what the first person is, and the second person is kind of a homeless person that's just completely out of it. But the first person, by the way she's dressed, the way she looks, and the way she speaks, is one of those Pacific Heights women, wives that has the 3 Afghan dogs, and she's just completely oblivious to any sort of reality whatsoever, and so she's all in because she's stupid.
Yeah, of course.
Passerbys offered their support.
Great day to just stand up for independence and freedom, and I'm really thankful. I'm thankful that there are people out here making a statement for those that don't have any voice.
I'm with it. I'm really upset how the world's going right now.
Demands to disband ICE and create a non-criminalizing alternative are being echoed at similar protests around the country.
Yeah, and apparently this was another one of these schemed events. that had parallels everywhere, including the Statue of Liberty, which I didn't get a clip of. But
the woman trying to climb up the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, and then they would drop the sign above, and they say, "Oh, there's no connection." I don't believe it for a minute.
Yeah, those
here.
Go ahead.
I just want to wrap this. They kick it back to the studio, and we have the anchor wrap, and I do have a comment about this, and I'll bet you can guess what it is.
Oh, could it be in a briefs?
Christina, if they do get their wish and say that ICE was abolished, do they believe there is any type of enforcement necessary then for people who come into this country illegally?
Well, they do want to see a different kind of process for bringing in people who are undocumented. Like they mentioned, they want to see it in a non-criminalized way. But in terms of the borders and border protection, they have a big sign up here that says abolish borders. And they've been very vocal about the fact that they do want and they are advocating for open borders.
All right, Christina Rendon in San Francisco.
Right. Yeah, your whole point about no borders versus open borders.
Yeah, and she's looking at the sign. It says abolish borders, and she turns around. The reporter turns around and says open borders. It's not what it says.
No.
Can you tell the difference between abolish and open? And abolish borders goes along with no borders, no nations. I mean, come on, people. These are people. These are the journalists today. It's just like a pie in the face, and they don't say, what is this goop on my face? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, what is that? Well, there's a lot of words. In 1984, the book 1984, there was this newspeak, and is that where the Ministry of Truth came from?
I've lost track of all the memes from 1984.
Yeah, but the idea of newspeak, where fear is freedom, segregate. I think we have
that was from that other thing.
Yeah, well, that's our own version of it.
Yeah, it's a new version.
Let me see. I have the marching version. Let's see. This is kind of the idea.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world, and you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing.
Right. So, but there's one that I've picked up, which is press freedom, which is now being seen as a God-given right. But of course, the actual right that we have, certainly in the United States, is freedom of the press, which is different from press freedom. Are you with me?
Who's likes to turn words around backwards so it has a double meaning psychologically. Press freedom, press for freedom, it is different than freedom of the press.
Well, it is. Well, actually, I'll give you an example. So Jim Acosta from CNN, we talked about on the last episode, who was standing in the back out of earshot of the president and clearly did a made for TV shot of him yelling. Are you gonna? Do you still think that the media is the enemy of the people? And so there was this clip that I have here, and it's him, defending his action there. But less interesting is the action, and more about this whole kind of idea of press freedom.
I wrote down some of these slurs. Some of them I can't read because they're curse words.
Yeah.
Point is, though, when you're in the back of the room, like you were on Friday, and you shout a question to Trump, and he probably can't even hear it, isn't it true that you're kind of doing that just to get attention?
Well,
isn't that part of what you're doing?
On Friday, when I was shouting that question, I thought, first of all, he keeps calling us the enemy of the people. Somebody ought to ask him after what happened in Annapolis.
Yeah, I do want to say that he called fake news like CNN and MSNBC enemy of the people. Not all media.
So they're going to continue to call us the enemy of the people. And so they had an event. They put him on all the other side of the room. But there was a moment towards the end of that event when he was walking towards us, and I thought, well, here's a chance to perhaps shout a question to him. And we have seen on occasion when we shout questions, he does answer the question. So it's not not unreasonable to ask that question. It's not like we barge into the Oval Office or barge into the Easter egg roll and start shouting questions.
But there's a perception you do in order to get attention for yourself.
And what people don't understand is that typically at the very end of these pool opportunities, what we call pool opportunities, where we go in and talk to the president or he has an event, we wait until the very end of the bill signing or the event or whatever he has, and he says, okay, thanks, guys, and then we'll go in and we'll ask our questions. People don't understand there's a process to it, and we typically adhere to that process. Now, of course, they're not going to take...
The process is a lot of loud clicking of cameras with you going... That's your process.
Our questions, we have to find opportunities to ask those questions, and that means
kind of like Sam Donaldson did decades ago.
That's right. And listen, if they want to send me to hell, I'll still be shouting at the devil. That's the way I look at it. And, we have a job to do. And I've said this times before, and I'll say it again. They can kick us out of the briefing room. They can kick us out of the White House. We're still going to do our jobs. And my attitude is that we fill a necessary role in our democracy. The rest of the world is watching us. They don't understand how the president can call us fake news and the enemy of the people. And my response to all of that is, my goodness, are we supposed to sit back and do nothing? Are we supposed to not push back when we're treated in that fashion? And my sense of it is that you have to push back.
So this clip goes in conjunction with something that Axios was reporting on. Axios is now this online news service that everybody's all jacked about, and it's owned by NBC and investors such as Lauren Powell Jobs. And it's a Trump exacerbates press freedom's steady decline. And they have a ranking about press freedom, not freedom of the press, but press freedom. And the United States comes in the 45th spot. 45. And I'll just read.
This rating has been going on for years, and it has nothing to do with press freedom.
No,
it has more to do with credibility.
But listen to this. Now, this is Axios. Here's what they write. U.S. press freedom enshrined in the First Amendment to the 1787 Constitution.
Bullshit.
No. There's no press freedom. See, I truly think that they believe that because they're members of the press, and I don't know, but I think you're certainly a member of the press. I'm a podcaster, so maybe I don't qualify as a member of the press. That wasn't really stipulated in the Constitution. But somehow they believe they have the right to do and go anywhere they want to. But that's not what it's about. You can print anything you want. You can say anything you want as a part of the First Amendment, right to free speech. But this press freedom thing, so I'll read again. U.S. press freedom enshrined in the First Amendment to the 1787 Constitution has been under increasing attack over the past few years. And the first year of President Donald J. Trump's presidency has fostered further decline in journalists' right to report. There's no right to report. He has declared the press, quote...
But meanwhile, you go to any of the Trump events, there's a crap load of journalists in the back, and he just still does the press conferences. Nothing's changed.
It gets better. He has declared the press an enemy of the American people, which he never even used the word press. Okay.
Well, he never used the word American either.
No. In a series of verbal attacks towards journalists, attempted to block White House access to multiple media outlets, as if that would be unconstitutional, and routinely uses the term fake news in retaliation for critical reporting. He has even called for revoking certain media outlets' broadcasting licenses. Well, this was a long time ago. The violent anti-press rhetoric from the highest level of the U.S. government has been coupled with an increase in the number of press freedom violations at the local level as journalists run the risk of arrest for covering protests or simply attempting to ask public officials questions. Reporters have even been subject to physical assault while on the job. It appears that the Trump effect has only amplified
that happened long before Trump showed up.
Yep. It appears the Trump effect has only amplified the disappointing press freedom climate that predated his presidency. Whistleblowers face prosecution under the Espionage Act if they leak information of public interest to the press. While there is still no federal shield law guaranteeing reporters' right to protect their sources, journalists and their devices continue to be searched at the U.S. border. Like they believe they have some special right. And by the way, anybody can be searched at the U.S. border because you're not in the U.S. That's the whole beauty of it. You have no rights, no press freedoms. While some foreign journalists are still denied entry into the U.S. after covering sensitive topics like Colombia's FARC or Kurdistan. So my point being, this newspeak jive of press freedom is a gross contortion of. You like that, huh?
I saw you working. I could see your brain going to try to come up with a word on the fly. And you nailed the beauty.
Yeah. The contortion of the United States Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Because the freedom of the press, Congress shall make no law against the freedom of the press. That's right, the freedom to press your words. And, and to broadcast them. I think that's a modern interpretation. But it doesn't mean you get to go in and go anywhere and say, you have to show me what's going on here. I'm from the press. Step back. No.
I'm Jim Acosta. You're not a government inspector.
Yeah.
You're not a government inspector with a badge.
But we need to be careful here because when the press runs this press freedom bull crap.
Well, this is just press whining. And I didn't realize that NBC had a piece of that Axion operation. But, now I can see it because that has become a propaganda tool. NBC is really doing everything they can that they don't get crushed by the government.
Well, there was a fun, just calling back to ICE for a second, crushed ICE. There was a fun report from your neck of the woods, Oakland. And I think local NBC affiliate maybe, they picked up the story. They went live because ICE was evicting people or arresting people in some area of Oakland, and people were freaking out about it. And when you listen to the clip, and I only realized it this morning when I heard it for the second or third time, the baby crying, the recording that was used so effectively to encourage people to take to the streets, the kids in cages crying. Any child crying has become a trigger. And it makes total sense, by the way. I think
you nailed it. Yes, this is a great idea. We should start using the baby crying
God, we need
during our donation segment.
Yes, exactly. I'll see if I could. Someone send me an ISO of the baby crying from the kids in cages, please. If you do that, that'd be fantastic. Listen to the report.
One person seen covered in a blanket taken away by law enforcement here in Oakland. Neighbors say this was the second person taken away, and they're upset. Hudar Cohen says she woke up to the sounds of a crying baby and law enforcement officers outside this home on the 700 block of...
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I woke up to the sound of a crying baby. Triggered. Immediately put into the mindset of, it's ICE, they're putting kids in cages. Oh, the poor children. Think of the children.
Sounds of a crying baby and law enforcement officers outside this home on the 700 block of 27th Street.
I just heard my roommate racing upstairs and crying and being like, I don't know what to do. And I came out, and all of our housemates got together, and we came outside, and we saw a bunch of cop cars, a bunch of other cars that are apparently ICE cars and just so many ICE agents.
I like ICE cars. That's kind of cool too, isn't it? ICE cars. Lots of ICE cars.
Coming in and entering our neighbor's house.
Cohen said no one was being told what was going on, except ICE agents did confirm with KPIX5 that special agents with ICE and Homeland Security were executing a federal search warrant as part of an ongoing criminal investigation.
Now, I need to add to this at this point in the report that this was a package they had produced, and they were live on the scene. And unfortunately, they found out what really was going on. But I like that they're all babies crying ICE, and they're all holding signs, and no human is illegal.
It's been really tough because we don't know what's going on in there. And we know that there's a lot of injustices that are happening, and we care for our neighbors, and we care for immigration rights. And no person is illegal.
With the issue of immigration heating up across the nation, emotions are running high in this neighborhood. The Rapid Response Network also arrived. They say they're trying to reach out to the family in this home.
Yet the Rapid Response Network, I hadn't heard of this outfit yet. So the Rapid Response Network, they come and hold up signs when they hear babies crying.
To provide them information on their rights.
ICE is not welcome in this country. HSI is not welcome. I don't support what they do. I think it's a blasphemy.
We're really calling on the community to say that this is not okay, that we're going to fight back. We're not going to let people just disappear like this.
And now we cut back to our reporter live on the scene.
Again, Oakland Police Department confirming this had to do with a federal criminal search warrant that had to do with human sex trafficking of juveniles. That's really the information that we have been we just received moments ago. Oakland Police's involvement in all of this was traffic control as requested by Homeland Security.
Oh, snap. Everybody was out there, and there was a legitimate ICE raid for some a-holes trafficking people. Huh.
Yeah.
Sex
Which
trafficking,
is a lot
no
of
less.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out. Well, I do have one other one kind of parallel.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Let me just see if I got this, John. Hold on one second. Let me see if I got the right thing. This will be good for the donation segment here. Hold on.
Yeah, it's too muddy.
It is too muddy. We need probably to make our own.
Somebody either needs to clean that mud up or
clean that mud off that clip.
Now, this is the one that got me. It didn't get a lot of legs, but it was like 60 people protesting. Most of the time, you could have 100 people on the other side of the fence protesting. They won't cover it. But this was an important protest that just like was the eye roller, and it just kind of got no legs, thank God. Anti-barbecue protest.
Animal rights activists crashed a free block party in Oakland today as people there were celebrating the 4th of July.
Yeah, about 60 protesters showed up. You see them in this picture. They were carrying fake butcher knives and wearing fake blood spattered on their shirts. They call barbecuing violence against animals.
Despite the slight disruption, the event at Jack London Square went off really without a problem.
We really need to abolish social media. That's how these idiots get together.
Barbecuing is violence against animals.
Oh, my goodness. I do want to
thank barbecuing tofu, huh?
I do want to thank everybody who was working on the 4th of July. You know, the team had to work. You know, there's like,
Are you eating food? Are you eating food?
Actually, I just crunched Tums. I had a little indigestion.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. She had to go in. It's not like Ronald McDonald House closes. It's 24/7. There's lots of people, we work, but I just wanted to thank them too. Everyone's thanking the troops. Troops are important, but there's tons of people at home who do all kinds of, how about the military, how about the cops, EMT.
But they're getting time and a half.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, there's no time.
Probably double time on a holiday like
There's
this.
no time and a half at the nonprofits, boy, I'll tell you that.
That's true.
That's just a regular work day. Let's see. I did have one other thing at the border, which I think people would be encouraged by. We already knew this was happening. I've been waiting for a clip that would confirm the use of, and I don't think they mentioned here, of DNA testing. We know that rapid DNA testing is now being applied at the border, which would mean that you can determine within an hour or two if you're related to the child who's with you. Here's the clip.
DNA testing is being conducted on separated migrant parents and children as part of the family reunification process. A federal official says it is a precaution against children being trafficked or smuggled by adults who claim to be their parents. But one immigration group calls the practice deplorable.
Yeah, of course. It's deplorable.
Why is it deplorable?
Because they can be tracked. I kid you not. There's whole articles about this. Stop DNA testing, because then the government can track these children everywhere, track these people. Hello? This is from the same country that has en masse spit in little tubes and sent it to 23andMe. It's crazy. It's a great idea.
A lot of crazy people. Crazy people out there with the good. Disgusting. They're crazy. Crazy.
It's a good idea to do that. You know, that's definitive. We don't need paper is not that important then all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's the 21st century. Get over yourself.
Yeah. And then there was people just were relentless. I'm like, can people just stop with the nasty political tweets on one day of the year? No, it's not possible. And so now they've discovered. Amy Siskind, to be specific, was promoting this. Now they've discovered that two of the commercial prison companies who have facilities for immigrants, detention facilities, both donated, I think it was $100,000 and $200,000 to the Trump inauguration fund. Which, of course, immediately spun into, now we see how it works. He got a nice inaugural party. and he's sending them clients. And of course, it's
well, that is the argument you can make when you have a system like
yeah, but sadly, it was. I have the headline here from the Washington Post: Obama's $1 billion giveaway to the private prison industry. He set it up. It was.
Oh no, you can't say anything bad about Obama.
That's whataboutism, bro. Yeah, but all of these outfits, all of them need to be. I see no reason for that to be outsourced in this manner because they're not. There's no proper oversight. I'm not talking about how people, whether they're big or small, are treated in these facilities. Their whole goal is to grow the client base. They speak about these people as clients.
That's just the problem.
Yeah, and so the whole nature of it is to grow the client base. So it's not working.
This is productizing the public, which is the same thing you have with the media that's so up and so high and mighty. The media does the same thing, and all advertising based services do the same thing.
Yep, packaging.
These are the public is a product. The clients are actually the advertisers.
Yeah,
and that's who they're appealing to.
I've been holding on to this clip for a couple shows.
No, it wasn't her. And we never heard her voice again.
Hours later, police discovered Michela's body less than half a mile away. Investigators say she was raped and she died from a blow to her head. More than 30 years later, police say they can pin Michela's rape and murder on Hartman using DNA evidence. Investigators say they used genetic genealogy to identify him as a suspect, and it was only recently that detectives were able to gather a new DNA sample from Hartman, and it matched what was found in 1986.
If you're a criminal and you've left your DNA at the scene, you might as well turn yourself in now.
Michela's mother.
Whoa. There you go. Or if you've spit in a tube for anybody, because they get it from genealogy. Oh, where'd you get that from?
No, that'll be coming. That's next.
Yeah, I'm not spitting in nobody's tube.
And I'll let it go at that.
Yeah, well, I gave you a chance, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, actually. Well, let's see what else we got here. We got the baby killer, which is a story that's not played in the state here at all.
The baby killer?
Know about the baby killer?
No, I don't know anything about the baby killer. Hey,
baby killer? This is a mass murder.
This is good headline material, man.
Baby killer. This is a headline. This
should have been the lead
in England.
This should have been our lead.
Welcome back. Her job was to care for newborn babies, but now a healthcare worker is behind bars accused of being a serial killer. Laura Ingle is in New York with more on this disturbing case.
Well, obviously, the news of the latest development is very shocking.
Inside the walls of this British hospital, police say a nurse charged with caring for newborns was actually on a killing spree.
We have today arrested a healthcare professional. She was arrested this morning on suspicion of the murder of 8 babies and the attempted murder of a further 6.
The breakthrough coming over a year after police began investigating the high rate of baby deaths at the Countess of Chester Hospital in northwest England.
The main problem for the hospital management and was the unexplained nature of these deaths, which is why the hospital management originally called in the police after 2 inquiries had failed to establish a definite cause.
Police are only describing the suspect as a female healthcare professional. They say she could be responsible for the deaths of as many as 17 babies and causing the health of 15 more to be severely impacted.
This arrest this morning will obviously be of huge impact to parents and families.
Now, do we have a motive?
No, they're trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with this woman. Yeah. And she's young, too. She's awkwardly pretty. But this has not been reported.
What does awkwardly pretty mean?
You'd have to look at her, and you'd look at her. You heard what I said. You'd look at her and you go, "Oh, now I know what he means."
Okay.
This is not being played in the States.
I see exactly what you mean. Nurse Lucy. Yes.
Yeah, Nurse Lucy.
Awkwardly pretty. You nailed it. Onward.
Onward. So she is. It's not being played. It's because, for one thing, it violates one of our basic memes and tenets about serial killers. They're never female.
Huh. Rarely,
despite the fact that in history we had Lizzie Borden, one of the most notorious serial killers in history, but for some reason we have it in this country, the idea that it always is male and usually involves guns.
Yes.
So this is no good. We don't need this.
So no traction. Gotcha. Now, there was a pretty good meme that was spreading around the interwebs, again from your neck of the woods. And I got to call bullcrap on it, because how did anyone know that the bag of poop on a San Francisco street, how did anyone know that it was 20 pounds? Because like 20 pounds of human waste. Like, did anyone?
Hey, no, you're walking down the street. So what is that, Bill? Oh, it looks like a bag of poop. Hold on a second. I've got a postal scale with me.
The city says it disposes of, get this, 275,000 used needles a month, and many of them start out on the street where people step over them. Mayor Mark Farrell says that's a situation that's intolerable.
People, quite frankly, are fed up with the conditions of our streets, and as am I.
San Francisco Mayor Mark Farrell and the Department of Public Health announced they are adding a new 10-person team dedicated to picking up dirty needles on the streets. Right now, only 4 city workers are on needle pickup patrol. The expanded cleanup program will cost $750,000 a year. The plan is for the team to concentrate on hot spots where large numbers of used needles often end up. And the city says under the plan, workers should be able to respond more quickly when a resident or business calls in about needles in their area. Used needles are one of the biggest complaints the city gets.
It is important for me as mayor to make sure that we do everything possible and that we send a message to our residents and actually make a difference, by the way, on our streets. Most importantly, that the status quo on our streets today is simply unacceptable, and we're not going to stand for it.
It wasn't really a poop report, but it's the same, 2 different sides of the same coin.
How come everybody in San Francisco is fed up?
Well,
they don't do crap. They don't do crap. Well, they do crap, but they crap on the street. Nah.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm sorry.
Boom. Yeah. Well, but beside that, another part of news, and I'm pretty convinced these are planted. Again, the 20 pounds of human waste. Like, okay, a big medical convention has canceled its meeting in San Francisco because the last time they were there, the attendees, many of them were afraid to go outside.
Yeah,
they didn't want to walk around, and that's because of poop on the street. But I think the drug epidemic, the shooting up. You see the pictures in the video. It's pretty harsh, especially if you're coming from out of town.
Yeah,
but
you're getting on BART and you go down the road. Everyone's in the BART station against the wall, sitting down, shooting up. This is just fantastic for tourism. Hey, good work, San Francisco. They should take the tourist guy, the guy who heads of San Francisco Tourism Board, and fire him immediately. I don't understand how this guy can keep his job.
Considering that, the opioid epidemic, I think we can safely say that doctors prescribing opioids is definitely complicit in the crisis that we're witnessing. Rather ironic that a bunch of doctors don't want to come to San Francisco because of the opioid crisis they helped start.
Yeah, that's a good irony there.
Saying.
I like it.
But again, no one is. They're only solving symptoms. They're only picking up the needles, figuring different ways to clean the poop. No one thinks of the obvious. We have to go to the root of the problem. We have nowhere to put them. I mean, I do have an idea. I would like to offer an idea where we could at least put people to help them get their lives back on track, because there is real estate becoming available every single day, and that's in these malls that are closing up. I mean, you could build some dynamite housing.
I think it was Butler who sent a note in.
Michael Butler? Oh, yeah?
Sent a note in about German malls, because this is apparently not a United States phenomenon. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Certain malls, not all the malls, there are malls that are lively, that are still floating around that are good, but they're rare.
Well, and
they're well managed.
Yeah, the ones that seem to be doing okay is the ones that have huge high-end stores. Who they don't really care if they make the rent. They sell 3 products a day, and rent is paid.
Yeah, it's like Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, that idea.
I think he said they turned this giant. I'd have to go. This is a while ago. He says they turned this mall into a giant sex parlor place with sex shows.
Yeah, that's in. Is that in Dresden? I think.
Maybe
that's a well-known place. That's either Dresden or maybe Dusseldorf. And it's legal, and it's this huge sex palace.
Yeah, the former mall.
Yeah, I've been invited many times. I have not gone to the big sex mall in Germany. No, but now, and I want to plant it in my flag in the ground one more time. We're going to leave Austin, and not going to wait around because I'll give you 5 years because I remember being in San Francisco in 2007, 8, 6, 7, 8. And walking to the office and stepping over the same homeless people every day. And it was very disturbing because I was living in London at the time. Every time I came, I was like, I forgot how many homeless people there are. So it's taken quite a while. It's taken a good 10 years for it to get to this point. But this is happening in Austin. And yesterday, the keeper's daughter was on her way back from work. And she said there was a homeless guy. That's just a general term. It could have been a vagrant, could have been mentally ill. We don't know. But the homeless guy, and he was just standing in the middle of the sidewalk peeing. Ah! Now this is the first time she's noticed the increase.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an eye opener.
Yeah. That's understatement, sir. So, but Austin is doing nothing, and people are now, it's the same behavior I saw in San Francisco, and it's the same people. It's high-tech people, the Google buildings right around, right?
And liberals and millennials who can't say, non-confrontational millennials. Huge problem. They know it, by the way, and they don't know what to do about it. Liberals who are just a bunch of do-gooders that don't do anything, and the slackers that aren't going to take part in any. I mean, this is a bad mix.
I'll tell you when they'll start doing something. Not much, but they'll start doing something the first time someone winds up in the hospital because one of those damn electric scooters wiped out riding on the sidewalk over a pile of human poop. Then people will be like, oh, well, this won't stand. A bunch of a-holes. We're moving.
Riding over.
When our lease is up, we're moving.
Just splashing all over the place. Hey, look out, here I come.
And, oh, man, there was an article about
those stupid scooters. That's another thing. It doesn't take a genius in city council meetings to stop these scooters from even being available to anybody. San Francisco is doing the right thing by picking them up and charging $150 for each one.
To get them back.
I would say just tell the public.
Yeah.
Or just my advice, was just steal them.
There was this good article I read.
No, I'm not advising that.
You're not advocating it.
I'm not advising.
You're not advocating that, no.
But anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, of course Austin's next because Austin, let's see. New York has got too much.
By the way, here's another statistic for you. How many homeless children are there in New York?
Oh, there's a huge number.
How many?
I don't know.
23,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Screw them. Open border. No border.
Yeah, no borders. That would do it. That'll fix things.
There's a term I learned called preference falsification. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but I'm
Margaret.
Listen intently.
Yeah, let's see. Do most people legitimately disagree with one another, or are they merely conforming to supposed dominant ideas?
What's the name of the term again?
Preference falsification.
Okay.
Which is, I think, it's just another term for lying. Though there are legitimate disagreements, we contend that modern American political tribalism has been artificially inflated by group-based conformity. That is, the moderate majority's submission to the demands of dedicated partisans, which has created a mirage of polarization.
And guy likes to use a lot of $5 words.
Yeah, so let's just keep it at preference falsification. But it is kind of the groupthink, the cultishness of it. And it's on all sides, of course.
Oh, yeah. It's on both sides.
Yeah.
Both dimensions.
Yes, all dimensions. But I don't. I liked it. I liked it as a term, preference falsification, because and at a certain point it may just become muscle memory. I'll agree with that. You can't disagree with anyone within your group. No, you get shouted out. In fact, James Woods was just fired by his talent agency. Like James Woods was ever going to work in Hollywood again. Yeah, no. I think he understood that was, you guys got FU money. The guy doesn't care. Yeah, but it wasn't that the guy said, "Hey, we can't get you work. No, we're going to quit you." He made a statement. He says, "Well, it's 4th of July. 4th is Independence Day. You suck." Pretty much. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. Where the C stands for Crush Ice Dvorak. And in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there. Yeah, in the morning to the troll room. Hey, trolls. Thanks for hanging in. We've had a couple stream issues. You've cut in or out once or twice, but nothing I wanted to stop the show over. NoAgendaStream.com for the troll room, and you can listen to the show live as we do it live to tape. I'd also like to thank Nick the Rat. Nick the Rat brought us the artwork for episode 1047. Congrats, Canada, the title of that. And this was the Woodstock-esque artwork for our album art, which was, I could call back to your Stop the Vietnam War, but here there was someone holding up a sign saying, "Get the hell off of Facebook." It was good. It was a nice. Nick, Nick's a pro. He knows what he's doing, and so we appreciate that, and we appreciate everyone who always diligently uploads to NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. It really makes a big difference, particularly when it shows up in an iTunes chart, which is for some reason it's in the news politics section, but it's always next to the new podcast from Rachel Maddow, and we just look better. She's got her little RTM logo, and we just have something fresh and something new. It's saying click on me. So thank you very much. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com, and we have a couple of executive and associate executive producers to thank for supporting us financially for episode 1048. Yeah, well, this is going to be a slow day. It's 4th of July with the solicitation day. It's just, no one's listening to the show. No one's around. But we do have a couple of people to thank. Paul for being the one executive producer would be Paul Arsenault. Arsenault. Yeah, Arsenault. Yeah, that would be it. $333 is in Jasper, Alberta, Canada. This being my second donation, I'd like a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I was hit in the mouth repeatedly until woke. Woo! A special shout out to Josh and Sandra and baby karma to them. Josh kept hitting me until I woke.
You've got karma.
Stay woke! Avarvari.
Hold on. Sebastian Paul Avarvari. Oh, he's from the Netherlands.
Yeah, you should be able to pronounce it with Dutch intonation.
That's not a Dutch name. Sebastian Paul Avarvari. Okay, something like that.
Leidschendam.
Close.
Which is a dam of some sort, I guess.
Yeah, it's the dam around Leidschen.
Oh.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, he's got a little note for us. He's contributed $233.33. This is a 2-parts donation consisting of a financial contribution and a content gift contribution. I'd like to credit both of them as a birthday present to my wife, Alina, for whom I would like to reserve in advance the title of Dame Alina of the Moldavian Hills. Do we have her on the birthday list?
No, of course not. Alina, it would be Alina. Alina, okay. Alina. And that's from Sebastian. Okay, I'll put it on right now while you continue.
We are a family of Romanians living in the Netherlands, and after hitting her in the mouth some time ago, Alina has become a fervent follower, with the No Agenda being the default studio track for our family trips.
Ooh.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Nice.
By the way, her birthday is on July the 4th, which is yesterday. Would love to hear John shouting, "Coincidence? I think not." on this one. I just did. Alongside a long-awaited de-douching, we might as well give him the de-douching.
Oh, yes.
You've been de-douched.
Now, what's funny here, of course, the irony is what he requests, which is Fear is Freedom.
No,
which is the one we just played the entire version of, and Little Girl Yay. Furthermore, a generous dose of job karma for Alina and a very healthy dose of F cancer for her brother would be greatly appreciated. Now, to the content contribution that I mentioned, I feel free to read this here or make more extended segment later in the show if you find that
this is something
interesting.
This is something I think we should discuss in outside of a donation segment.
Okay.
I've written it down, though. I have written it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so he says, John, keep up the good work on the recorder. And he needs some, can I get some Nicaraguan cigars back at the round table? Screw you, John. Cubans are overrated. Well, I don't think anybody in their right mind would think that. But and the best Nicaraguan cigars, from what I can tell, by the way, when they were very popular back in the cigar era, in the late 90s, which is long over. Those good Nicaraguan cigars were made, I know this is controversial.
On the thighs of virgins.
They were made with Cuban tobacco.
Really? Why does that not surprise me?
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing!
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
There you go.
Sir Bruce Wilkie, $222.22. Bruce, Night Bruce here. Adam, what do we have to do to get you on Rogan's podcast?
I don't think he likes me.
Probably doesn't.
No, it wouldn't be completely unthinkable. For some reason, he doesn't like me.
What about me? I'm not sliced tomatoes.
You're contaminated by me.
Ergo,
you no likey.
Me no likey. I think it'd be an awesome guest, and we need to set the Podfather record straight. He and a multitude of others are attributing podcasting, the founding, to Rogan and Adam Carolla.
Now, what he's saying is Ben Shapiro did that. I don't know why he says.
We all need you to speak for yourself and hit him in the mouth at the same time. It would also be amazing for the show. A dude named Dave, $211.11. Dear sirs, well, we're not officers, so I'm not sure if that's correct. I've been listening and enjoying the show a lot lately, and I've never donated. Probably I should ask for a de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
You, along with the many producers, have a very enlightening and entertaining product. So here's my first donation for $211.11 to the best podcast in the universe. He just got his de-douching, and he needs 3 Space Forces, Little Girl Yay, and a Jobs Karma.
Space Force, Space Force, Space Force.
Yay! Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Space Force.
And that kind of ends the 1 to 2, 3 donations. So that's all we got for executive and associate executive producers for show 1087. Is that right?
1048 would be the episode.
1048.
It's easy to lose track above 1K. I'll say that for sure. Well, we want to thank our one executive producer and our associate executive producers profusely for supporting us. That's why you get your special mention at the beginning of the show, just like Hollywood does that. We'll be thanking more people in our second segment, $50 and above. And a reminder, on Sunday, we've got another show. You never know what can happen on a show day, so remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And, oh man, I can't believe it. I forgot the crying children. I didn't propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order! Shut up, slave!
Shut up, Dave!
Something funny happened the other day. I have to say that I enjoy the show even more than I used to because these are the two moments in my life at this moment, the two times in my life that I hear everything perfectly and in a beautifully processed, nice, full, rich sound. Because I
thought it was 'cause,
yes,
I thought you were going to say it's because you can go back into the closet twice a week.
Hey! No. So the hearing aids, I've got them completely figured out. I've got them customized, configured, and it's fantastic. But but if you want to be able to hear things, you have to, and it's very difficult for me. You have to learn to live with, depending on the situation you're in, a horribly filtered sound. An example would be in the shopping mall. There's a good example. We talked about the mall. If you want to be able to hear what people are saying, then you're going to basically only crank up the mids and everything else has to go down. Turn on the directional mics, which is one setting, by the way. You don't have to do that all on the fly. And then you can hear everybody, but it sounds completely like this. And otherwise, it's just too much noise that comes in. Anyway, so I'm wearing these things. I'm doing pretty good.
Wait a minute. Let's stop.
What?
Well, I mean, you're talking in vagaries. You are in the mall. You've got the hearing aid right now. It's in your ear.
No. Oh, in the mall. Yes. Yeah. In the mall.
It's not.
No, not while I'm doing the show.
Now?
No. While I'm doing the show, the headphone is on 11, which is why I hear everything perfectly. And it sounds really good. And because there's a noise gate, there's nothing else is being amplified when I'm not talking. So this is the way. I wish the world sounded like this to me all the time. And I can go to, I can turn on music and I can put it on the music setting and it'll sound fantastic.
That's where we're stopping. What do you mean? You poke yourself in the eye? How do you make the settings change?
Oh, I thought I told you this. So there's 6 settings pre-programmed. And you have a button on each unit. So I'm actually, it's an odd thing.
Is it a big giant button? How do you find the button? It has to be minuscule.
No. So the way the modern hearing aids, it's not just something that's stuck in your ear canal. You have the unit is hanging behind your ear. Then there's a copper, wire pair that goes into a really, they call it a receiver, but it's really a tiny speaker. And that is in your ear canal. So the unit contains the battery, the processing, and you can, one button on each one. So if the right ear volume goes up, left ear volume goes down. And either button, if you long press, it'll change to a different program. And the little lady's voice will go, music. Or she'll go, party. Or urban. Or universal. You with me?
Yeah, and I'm trying to visualize. Okay, so you got a little thing in the back of your ear that you can push a button.
Yeah.
And you push it until you wait for the lady because the little voices come through, which is kind of cool, and tells you what setting you're on, then you let off.
There's other cool things. For instance, now this doesn't happen with me, but I thought it wouldn't. If you lose one, then the one that's still in your ear will go, lost mate, which is an odd message to receive.
How do you lose one?
Well, funny you ask. So we're up here on the 29th floor, and I'm taking some garbage, some cardboard box to throw down the chute.
Are you still using your little thing you stand on?
The little thing I stand on?
You used to stand on a little thing. A little scooter thingy.
No, I'm just walking down the hallway.
Whatever happened to that thing?
I gave it away. It was a death trap. I didn't want to die. So I'm walking down the hallway. I go to the garbage room. We have 2 garbage chutes, one for garbage, one for recycling. And so I got this box and it won't fit. And so I'm crushing the box. It clips my ear. The hearing aid flips off, hits the box. I try to grab it. No, it goes down 29 floors. I couldn't hear it more than 5, of course. And bing, 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 bing. I'm like, okay.
Wow, that's what I call a freak accident.
Yeah, and so I immediately jump in the elevator, go down. I'm like,
I thought you jumped in the chute.
I should. Well, I'm like, I shouldn't throw anything after it because even though I might mark where it is, I don't know what could happen. It could, for all I know, it got caught somewhere. It has a wire on it. You can get caught in anything. So I go downstairs. I'm running underneath the building. I can't find anything. One of the maintenance guys appears, and I tell him the story. He's like, are you sure you put in the right-hand one? I said, yeah, in the recycling. You're really sure? I said, yeah, okay. Good. And we go into where these big containers are, where all the trash dumps in from the entire building. And I see what he was saying about the regular garbage because it goes through a mulcher, and it's just if you're throwing something down that tube, it's going to get mulched. But and there it is. There's the recycle container, and it's up to my chest. I'm looking in. It's like, oh, I can't see anything. Can I get in? Before I can say anything, the maintenance guy hops in, 30 seconds, picks it up, and the wire had dislodged from the little speaker. So I'm like, well, at least I have that part of the unit. And they says, oh, and there's this. He picked it right out of the recycling.
Wow.
And you know what happened then? Well, first of all, when this took place, as I said, when it was going plink, 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 plink down the chute, my other ear goes, lost mate. Do you understand kind of how it can be useful? And then when I had it in my hand, when he gave it back to me, it went, mate found.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I guess if you're a complete idiot, you don't know you lost a mate. That would come in very handy.
Well, I don't know what it's like to be completely deaf, or very, very deaf, and that these things are only marginally helping somebody. So maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it's nice to be doing the show where I can hear everything perfectly. Because, man, what a handicap that is, really. It sucks.
Well, it's an interesting device, that's for sure. I didn't know they were that modern.
It's... there's all kinds of interesting things.
But it's a big clunker hanging off the back of your ear. It looks like something grown back.
No, it's not geriatric beige, and it's not a big clunker. It's very small. It's
geriatric beige. Send a photo of yourself wearing the product. I think everyone would love to see that in the next newsletter.
Okay, but you can't see it when I'm wearing the product. We'll have to do a close-up of the ear.
Well, I want to see where. Yeah, you have to do a close-up. So we see. I want to see the button.
You want to see what?
The button.
Oh, the button. Okay. Well, how about Tina will take some pictures. We'll snap some shots of close-ups of my ear. This will be a newsletter exclusive.
Yeah, totally. We'll be on the, I'm not going to tweet it.
No, you're not. This is only for us people.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. No.
Well, try to get that to me tomorrow, and then I can get it.
Yeah, I'm right on it. There was
sure. If we're in a couple of weeks, we'll see it, folks.
Anyway, it's a fascinating field. Fascinating. How's your bionic eye doing, by the way?
I'm getting there. Another month. I have a.
This is what happens when you get older, people. Just so you know, it's like this is your conversation.
An inflamed cornea, which is keeping my vision at 20/40 instead of what it should be.
Oh,
so it has to go another. They're going to give me some different drops to help out.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's why?
Better than what?
How did it get inflamed? It just happens, or just hasn't?
It turns out to be some genetic thing.
Like me, I've got the genetic hearing thing.
Yeah, well,
together.
I'll report when I get to see how this.
I feel that together with your eye and my ears, I feel we should get a parking pass. I mean, honestly.
All you need is a dishonest doctor.
Yeah. Don't know anything.
So here it is. Since we're talking about ailments.
Yes.
I've been carrying this because you brought it up. We never played this Do you ever play the bipolar ad?
I can't remember. No, we played it after the show. Yeah, you said you have to hear it. Here we go.
Sometimes bipolar disorder can make you feel unstoppable. But mania, such as unusual changes in your mood, activity, or energy levels, can leave you on shaky ground. Help take control by asking about your treatment options. Vraylar is approved for the acute treatment of manic or mixed episodes of bipolar I disorder in adults. Clinical studies showed that Vraylar reduced overall manic symptoms. Vraylar should not be used in elderly patients with dementia due to increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. High cholesterol and weight gain, high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, decreased white blood cells, which can be fatal, dizziness upon standing, falls, seizures, impaired judgment, heat sensitivity, and trouble swallowing may occur. You're more than just your bipolar one. Ask your doctor about Vraylar.
I'd rather have bipolar.
Serious business, man. Yeah.
So, hey, this is good news.
What? The bipolar medicine that may kill you?
No, we've gone beyond that.
Okay.
Tim Allen is back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, his show started already, or is it? They just had the announcement.
Oh. Last Man Standing is back. High time Fox got a show about a family guy. Play on words.
Last Man Standing, Fridays this fall on Fox 2.
I never really watched the show, honestly.
I watched it a couple of times. It is actually funny.
That's the one where he's a ham. He's a ham radio guy. That's the show.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think he ends the show.
But he's a right winger, and
yeah.
The jokes about him. He's a right winger, and everybody else isn't. Yeah. And so it's like it's funny. It's a funny show. I mean, the guy's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And of course, Disney kicks it off the air for no apparent reason, and then of course he gets the first chance at making amends and gets a lot of publicity, and they kick the Rosie show off the air. And I think maybe Rosie could be picked up on Fox, but.
Rosie? You're calling her Rosie now? What the hell is wrong with you?
Did I say Rosie?
You said Rosie twice.
A number of times, didn't
Twice. What is wrong with you? Are you
I don't know. I meant
best
Roseanne.
friends with her? Like, hey, Rosie, thanks for calling.
No, I was thinking of Rosie O'Donnell.
What is wrong with you?
I was thinking of Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, the whole Disney thing was, of course, preference falsification. See how I brought that back?
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
No, I know. I still wanted to try.
You keep trying, but it's not going to work.
There was... Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I got all my clips, all the leftover clips I have now are all off the wall.
Well, don't do anything left over at the moment, because we have big news this morning from Euroland. The ineffective and powerless European Parliament voted the copyright bill, which has the controversial Article 13 and 11 in there. 13 is the they call it the meme clause, where everything has to be scanned for copyright when you upload it to a site that uses user-generated content, UGC. And Article 11, which is the link tax, which is news organizations want to be paid if someone links to their articles. I'm sorry. I have to laugh every time I have to laugh. So they said, no, it can't go to the trilog. This is where it would have gone, to the trilog, L-O-U-G-E. I'm not quite sure what the trilog does, but ultimately these people don't create laws. They get to say, we don't like it. And then it goes back, and I think if they say the next time, we don't like it, and then it gets a yellow card, maybe, or a red card, and then it has to, then it ultimately can be put on the real back burner, and they'll bring it back in a year and do the exact same thing, and it'll pass. But it's so insane. Then, and of course, Paul McCartney was out there saying, this is good, it hurts artists, we need to have this, pass it. Which is just not a good look for Sir Paul.
Problem.
It's not a good look for Sir Paul. Well, I understand. Well, what he's saying is antiquated. He's saying, well, how can young musicians ever really build a career if everything's being, stolen and given away for free on the internet? I'm like, well, Paul, just because you finally were able to buy back your publishing after having someone kill Michael Jackson, that's different. You have songs that go way back, and you have an enormous catalog, but it's a different world today. It's it's broken. The whole or the traditional model is completely broken. But he's out there trying to. I think he's doing it for the kids.
Let me put my 2 cents worth in on this whole thing. Even when it began, when the music thing began, everyone was bitching and moaning. I had a lot of columns that I produced on a monthly basis, and they were all being photocopied.
Mm-hmm.
And they were being passed around. They were in other people's newsletters, and there were some people just blatantly stealing them and putting them online. And I wasn't getting any compensation for this, and I wasn't getting any support from all these musicians that were moaning and groaning about, we're losing all these sales. Well, I mean, I had my stuff stolen, and all writers had their stuff stolen by the copying machine for eons before this ever came up as a problem.
Right.
And when the whole thing became a problem, nobody said anything about the writer stuff being stolen.
Well, now I'll tell you, in the Netherlands, when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I can't remember exactly what the circumstance was, but we had a mimeograph machine, which was the old school way of copying.
One of many.
Oh, that smelled so good, didn't it? You got that mimeograph sheet.
You're talking about the Ditto machine, if that's true. No, you're thinking of the Ditto machine.
Oh, it's called the Ditto, not the mimeograph?
The one that smells good.
Yeah, that's the Ditto machine?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Ditto machine. You got that piece of paper. Can you just smell it? Just me saying it? Oh, man, it smells so good. Got so high off of that. And I was like, oh, can I just copy the book or something? It was something about that. And it's something I didn't have because I just entered the Dutch school system. But they were very clear. Oh, no, that's illegal. Like, what do you mean? You got a machine right here. Just press it and go, and you got a copy. That's illegal. We can't do that. That was the first time and it was in Holland. It was very, oh, no. And that was
not here.
A generally accepted policy. People really respected that, even if they didn't quite understand it, and threw it by the wayside very quickly. But at the time, it was a real thing. I was impressed. Like, oh, well, okay. I don't want to steal from anybody. But yeah, yep. Of course, that was going on here. Sure.
I remember one time I'm going through this after hearing Microsoft moaning and groaning all this. And Microsoft had an internal kind of a publication. It was like a newsletter to the employees that came out. And in one of them, somebody sent me one of them. It had about 40 things in it. Everything was stolen. It had one of my columns was in there.
Oh, right.
Stolen by Microsoft. It was just what?
Those guys have no shame and all the power, I will say.
That's it. We're going off the grid.
I got a couple off the grid things to share as I continue in my quest for zero tracking and pro sanity, because that's really what this is about. I've been trying the Nokia 3110, the 3G remake of that classic Nokia phone, and I am sad to report it is no good.
So everything that you've done so far with anything that came out that's new
sucks.
Is no good.
Yep. And
as opposed to the
E71.
Yeah, the old stuff.
Yeah, the E71 is so far just so much better. And here's what happened. It was a multitude of interesting things. I'm just trying to be connected. I want a web browser. I want text messaging, and I want to be able to make a call or receive a call. That's pretty much it. That's all I really need to do. The web browser is important. And almost every phone has the web browser, but the text messaging does become important when I'm off of WhatsApp and I've never had Messenger and all that stuff is all gone. So I still want to communicate with a few people like you. You and I will text back and forth. So all of a sudden, I'm not receiving any text messages. And the phones, I called T-Mobile, and then in the middle of the call, it goes into RoboCop mode and it crashes and the phone's rebooting. I'm like, what is going on? And so first I do what we used to do. What was always so much fun. If your phone was broken, and this will bring back memories for a lot of people. If your phone was broken or wasn't working properly, you just pop the back off, pop the battery out, put the battery back in, boom, your phone worked again. Remember those days? Yeah,
I still have those days.
So that's what
I use a phone that you can remove the battery.
I know. Well, you're a genius.
Yes, that's it.
So I finally am able to talk to the T-Mobile guy, who was very helpful, I might add, and they always have Americans on the call, people in America.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's so much better than anything I've ever. It's good. And he says, well, you know what? Because that was interesting. Oh, you're using the Nokia 3110. So I guess they see that immediately when I put the SIM card in.
Sure.
He says, okay, so I can send text messages. I can't receive them. And the phone's crapping out. And he says, have you deleted any of your messages lately? I said, now who the hell does that? Oh, wait a minute. Yes. Rewind back the clock. And we go back 10 years in time. Yeah, the phone had filled up with messages, with text messages, which these days, of course, contain photos and all kinds of stuff. And so it was out of memory. It had eaten up, 30 megs or whatever the phone has internally. So it just broke.
Oh.
So you don't think about these things, about how much memory we actually consume.
Well, that's like the hard disk of today's era.
The same idea, exactly.
In the olden days, you get a hard disk, and this was in play, I think, until about the year 2000. You had to clean up your disk because you would start to run out of space.
Yeah.
It's starting again a little bit with this silicon disks because the bigger ones you can get is about 1 terabyte. You can't really have an internal hard disk much bigger than that right now. But But the terabytes probably enough. But generally speaking, you have to start thinking about it again.
There was the more I walk around with these phones, the more people are, when they see me again, they'll say like, hey, you're that guy. Hey, you're that guy with that phone. Yeah.
When are you going to get the mustache with the big long handlebars?
But they do say, the girl at the checkout counter the other day said, you really did wake me up about all that tracking stuff. So what do you mean? She said, well, they know what you're buying and they connect it to you. I said, yeah, exactly. So what have you done about it? Nothing. So, okay, well, at least I got her woke.
People love to be aware, though.
Yeah, she's aware. That's better than nothing. But CNBC had a report on what they call declaring independence from technology, which is some cool tips on how you can be less dependent upon your smartphone. And I wouldn't have played this clip if it wasn't for the fabulous vocal fry of the adult under 40. That's the correct term now, John. It's no longer a millennial. It's an adult under 40.
Huh.
They feel better when you call them that?
Okay.
Adult under 40. It was really her presentation that made me want to play this clip.
If you're like me, your smartphone is practically glued to your hands. Every email, text message, Facebook like distracts you from whatever you're trying to do in the real world. So, going into 2018, I decided to develop some better smartphone habits. Here's how you can too. You don't have to be interrupted by every like that your latest Instagram picture receives. A simple way to cut down on distractions is to turn off push notifications for as many apps as possible. Personally, I only left notifications on for chat apps, calendars, and utility apps. Don't let your phone be the last thing you see at night and the first thing you check in the morning. Move it into another room to charge at night and wake up using an old-fashioned alarm clock. The most basic step you can take to wean yourself off your phone is literally setting alarms, specifying how often you can check it. Start with an alarm every 15 minutes. And when it sounds, spend just 1 minute going through any and all notifications. One of the most jarring ways to curb the time you spend on your smartphone is to make the screen much less desirable to look at by getting rid of all the color. I found this trick incredibly effective for keeping me off apps like Facebook and Instagram. On an iPhone, go to Accessibility, Display Accommodations, and then turn on Color Filters. Want to judge your progress? Consider installing an app that tracks your smartphone habits like quality time or moment. It will give you great insights like how many times you picked up your phone and how long you spent on screen each time. Seeing those numbers can help you be more conscious of how much you're actually using your phone. Cutting down on my phone usage hasn't been easy. When I'm tackling an undesirable task, I can feel myself getting drawn to my phone, but resisting the temptation has been helpful. Because I've stopped checking my phone as often, I'm forced to stay focused, which has made me more productive. I've also been appreciating my time on social media more, because I'm only checking it when I deliberately want to spend some time scrolling through feeds. So, even if you only follow a few of these tips, hopefully you can still achieve one main goal: having a healthier relationship with your phone by being more intentional about how and when you use it.
Oh, brother.
Well, first of all, I kind of like her sultry version of the vocal fry because she didn't uptalk.
No, but she goes down. She goes, put in my smartphone. It is a sultry. Yeah, I agree. It sounds
a sultry, sexy sound.
Well, I wasn't.
It's when it's up talking that when they talk it up at the end of every sentence, that's when it becomes, I think, problematic. This girl just drinks a lot.
Nailed it. Okay. Speaking of adults under 40, I got a very nice note from Nicholas Orr. He's here we go. Adam, I heard your analysis of the University of Texas study on phone placement and cognitive ability. You actually wrote a column about this, John.
I did, and I thank you for the idea.
And what's the response been to the column?
It got a lot of retweets. I mean, I tweeted it out.
Well, I know we had one guy on Twitter who's a knight. I forget who it was. And he was angry.
Yeah, there was a couple people who got irked about it.
You guys are technophobes. You tech Luddite. I'm like, what?
That guy.
Yeah, you don't even try.
Well, that's just dumb. That guy was just dumb.
No, it was really disappointing from a knight. So he says.
Well, I don't know. He was must have something. There's something triggered him. I don't know what.
I think
it was.
It's something about
but
the iPhone.
They can call us technophobes all they want, but the fact is, I have been in the scene for over 40 years.
The swinger scene?
Writing about it. I mean, come on, give me a break. What kind of a technophobe could I possibly be?
Yeah, I mean,
I got a house filled with gadgets. That doesn't mean I have to like every one of them, and I don't have to like every trend. That's the problem.
Yep.
What you're complaining about, pal, is you're complaining about being objective.
That was a 1970s neighbor over the fence. What you're complaining about, pal?
Yeah.
That was great. That was good. I heard your analysis on the University of Texas study on phone placement and cognitive ability. This made me think of a personal example, and I completely agree with the study's findings. I'm 18 years old, and with this, it means I recently applied for college. I had to take the ACT exam multiple times. The first few times, I brought my phone with me inside and set it either under my desk or kept it in my pocket. These early tests, I did not do so well, sitting at around my stage average. On the other tests, the phones were collected and taken to the proctor's desk. I saw improvement and was happy with my score, but I knew I could take it to the next level. I decided to take a class again, and they recommended to not even bring your phone to the testing site. I followed their advice and saw a dramatic point increase, a total of 13 points from beginning to end. I definitely agree with this study, and I love the OTG segment. Thank you for your courage. Sincerely, Nicholas Orr. How about that? Yeah.
But he's probably right on the money. I bet you that could be duplicated over and over again.
Well,
the thing's a plague.
Well, it gets.
Ask me where my phone is right now. Ask me where it is.
Hey, John. John.
What?
Where's your phone right now?
I have no idea.
Always the same with you. I never get old. Now stand up and do that, and then we'll be done.
Never get old.
Let me see. I had a couple of things here that were of import to discuss. Yes. There, just on devices for a moment, there is another new possible contender. This was sent to me by John in the Lee Valley, Pennsylvania. He says, take a look at the Kyocera Dura XV LTE, which is a feature phone. It's a flip phone, feature phone, but it has, I think it has a 5 megapixel camera. It has, it's a 4G LTE. It can act as a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, it doesn't have a QWERTY keyboard, so, I still like the QWERTY keyboards, and, even though the predictive text works okay. Or actually T9.
What's the model number on that one? The Kyocera makes good gear, by the way.
Yeah, it's the Dura XV LTE. XV is in 25 or 15, I guess. Capital X, capital V. Dura XV. And it looks indestructible too, because it's military grade. Throw it underwater for 6 hours.
Nice. I'm glad somebody's making this stuff.
Yeah, well, who actually makes this? What is Kyocera? I need to buy.
Kyocera's a big operation. Yeah, they're the ones who invented the ceramic knife. Really? They also used to be in the hi-fi gear business. They're one of the big players in Japan. They had copying machines. They make some sort of crazy copying machine that's pretty good.
Do they have an ADR? Can we buy some stocks?
I don't think it's a good investment.
That's
just based on the fact that they make this phone.
Here was something that we predicted would happen, and it just again shows you what's going on in these smartphones. Now, I'm sure that people who Allstate is it's a huge insurance company in the United States. Car insurance is that mainly what they do? They must do all kinds of insurance.
Allstate?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the things. I'm sure they do more than that. But anyway, go on.
Well, anyway, Allstate wants to give people a deal.
You're in good hands, I think, with them.
Yes. You're not a good neighbor. Allstate is tracking in-car smartphone use so insurance companies can either push or reward drivers depending on how they use their mobile phones while driving. The technology works by using the smartphone's accelerometer and gyroscope to sense whether the device is being moved, likely in a driver's hand or lying flat on a surface. And this system, Arity it's called, can also tell whether the phone is unlocked and if apps are being used.
They'll all do this eventually.
Yeah, of course. Allstate will soon use the technology to determine consumers' car insurance rates.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. So, if you have Allstate, and a lot of people do, you probably have the app on your phone. Well, they analyzed data from 160 million trips by hundreds of thousands of Allstate drivers, and they found confirming research showing that drivers on their phones are more dangerous. Hello, Sherlock.
Hello.
But how about that? So while you were just thinking, oh, this is great in case I need to get a hold of my insurance company if I have a dust up, if I have a bang up, they were tracking your your behavior. And now, based on that, probably have already determined what your rate's going to be without them even announcing doing it this way. They've already got the information on you.
Yeah, you're screwed.
It's super screwed. And then we know the smart...
And you should be if you're texting and messaging.
Yeah. The smart TV business is another article I came across who are, they're tracking what you are watching. Samba TV, I think. Have you ever heard of this outfit?
No.
So they aggregate smart TV data, and let's see, they collected viewing data from 13.5 million smart TVs in the U.S. But here's what's interesting. They actually are tracking the pixels on the screen. So they don't care if you're watching something through a satellite dish or cable or through Uverse or any of this, or if you're on the Roku, they don't care. They are tracking the pixels using recognition to know what ad is playing, what movie you're watching, what TV show you're watching. With these bugs in the corner of the screen, they'll know what channel you're watching without having any of the underlying data from the content systems themselves.
Sounds like a kludge. Sorry.
Well, how much more of a kludge is it than doing recognition on photographs? It's the same basic principle.
Well, I don't I have to say these face recognition systems, and now it turns out that if you wear the makeup of a juggalo.
Yeah, I like that one.
Fool them, and I think it's because of the second set of eyes in the forehead. I think if they should. I saw that article. I wish they would have deconstructed it a little better and tested, because I would love to. I have tested these machines, and they are very hard to fool. I've never been able to fool one, but I'll bet you if I could put two black. You know how the football players and other athletes put black under their
eyes? Yeah, the charcoal.
If you put it over your eyebrow, two big black lines, I'll bet you that the thing would have some difficulty.
Yes, and you'd make lots of new friends. Hey, man. Hey, how you doing?
I would say three things, because apparently the juggalo thing, one of the things it confuses is the chin line, because you get the black down there. So I'm thinking if you took two black lines over the eyebrows and then one black line under the lower lip, big thick black line like a mustache line, big thick, just a big line. So you have three lines on your face. You look like you were, maybe going to a party or something. I'll bet you that thing would be confused. This was the way to go.
Yeah, and it's the best is to do that when you're dropping the kids off at school. That's when you want to test this stuff out. That's the best.
Man, your dad's cool looking.
Two more things. One, the very popular stylish browser extension, which I would never install something like this.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, well, I saw people even respond to your tweet saying, thanks, I just uninstalled it.
Well, I retweeted the thing.
Yeah.
That this was going on, but to be honest, I never heard of the thing.
So it's from userstyles.org, and
like a good idea.
Yeah, they have a browser extension which you put in there, and you can manipulate the way every web page looks, and you can it's nicer. It's customizing the experience to the way you want it. But it turns out that it's taking all of your browsing history and uploading it to their home base. So that's thank you very much, douchebags. But this has got to be the best. This has got to be my favorite, because we always knew, and it's widely published, that Google will send their incredibly smart AI machine learning bots to go look at your Gmail to see if there's anything relevant there that we can use to advertise to you. That's the story. They've always stuck to it, and people seem to be happy about it. They don't care. It's like, it's just email. Never anything important on email. But now we learn Now we learn it's a little bit broader than that.
So Google revealing that it allows software developers to scan the inboxes of millions of their Gmail users. Ashley, of course, this comes on the heels of Facebook's data.
Well, it does, and it's quite shocking. Gmail, by the way, has 1.4 billion users. Nearly 2/3 of people who actively use, email use Gmail. So it's a large pool of data. What's shocking about this is what we know now is that there were actual humans going through unredacted emails, maybe yours, Charles, maybe mine, who knows, going through them and then creating computer programs to use algorithms that would key out certain words that would allow advertisers to send Charles Payne the kind of advertising that they think you're interested in for those particular products. Look, Google says, yes, this is part of the deal. You sign up for all these free, wonderful services. Part of the other side to this is that your data is out there for advertisers to access. The question is, if you were given a choice, would you mind anyway? Should the choice be made more simple? Yes or no button?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, we knew that was going on with the searches, but not with your Gmail.
No, I think
that felt like it was
maybe
private.
A step too far.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot.
Maybe
that's right.
Maybe a step too far. It could just be so. And I'd like some confirmation on this. We got lots of confirmation about the FaceBag developers who were able to access profiles and profiles of profiles on the older apps, but I'd love to hear from one or two of our dudes named Ben who have experience with access to Gmail through an API where you can just look at people's inboxes. I mean, I'm sure that the person has to approve it.
I'm absolutely convinced that there's no way that anyone's going through this email to look for stock tips from insider trading and people that might be doing a deal or a merger.
And here I was just thinking dick pics. Man, of course, stock tips. What am I thinking?
Of course, that's where the money is.
Yes, I understand that's where the money is. But it was a little shocking to me. And not a lot. I'm just surprised in general how cavalier they are especially with their email.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay. No big deal. And of course, all I use Gmail for is receiving spam.
And to send clips to me.
And send clips. They're going to see all these clips, and they're going to say, we're going to sell this guy? Secretarial services.
Yeah, exactly.
Either that or audio gear.
It still baffles me how Gmail has, with our full approval, has full access to our email. They give... I would say that they just not, it's probably not willy-nilly, but they do give some of their preferred partners access to your Gmail with your approval, of course. Why can they still not really use all that great AI and machine learning to figure out how to not give you the secretarial services spam? I mean, are they just not good enough?
I'll tell you what it is. It's a load of crap.
That's it. We're going back on the grid.
It's a load of
bull crap. The whole thing is a scam.
It is.
There's no AI. I mean, they got the AI with the face recognition. Okay, I got that. But that's just a series of algorithms that they kept working on. Yeah. It's math. Yeah. It's really math. It's not something thinking.
Right.
So there's no intelligence involved. It's just a lot of grind out stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they can't do anything. They can't figure out the human being yet.
Nope. Thank goodness. Today is the 5th of July, 2018, and a day to be celebrated with more acronyms stuck together than you could shake a stick at. Did you know today, John, that we celebrate LGBTQ STEM Day?
It's becoming a red buttons bit. Nobody will get that joke, but somebody will. Go on, I'm sorry.
It's not a joke.
I'm LGBTQ and I'm in STEM.
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 I'm LGBTQ. I'm LGBTQ.
I'm LGBTQ and I'm in STEM.
Yes. Here we go.
Where did you get that?
There's more than one way to be LGBTQ.
There's more than one way to be in STEM. Diverse problems need diverse people.
Join us on July 5th to celebrate the first International Day of LGBTQ people in STEM.
It is LGBTQ STEM Day. Go look at it. Today is
LGBTQ STEM Day.
LGBTQ STEM Day. LGBTQ.org. LGBTQ STEM. Yes, it's a real thing.
STEM.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those who don't know, in the United States, we came up with this acronym STEM, which is what all children need to be. You all need to be STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And then we had a bunch of, people who were going along with the groupthink in the program, and they said, well, could we make it STEAM and add an A for the arts? Well, of course, that lasted 4 months. You can't have that. Shut up, you idiot. No, STEM.
No art.
No art for you. STEM. Just STEM. So I have a couple of issues.
This is kind of an exclusive kind of a thing.
Well,
This is not inclusive. This is terrible.
It is terrible because, first of all, they only use LGBTQ, where the full acronym is LGBTTQQIAAP. So you've excluded a whole bunch of letters.
Yes.
And I was reminded again, I was watching the new season of Queer Eye, which I recommend to everybody. You could, dudes, you can watch this with your gals, with your babes. Because it's lovely. It's male vulnerability and emotion. And you'll like it and she'll like it and you'll have wonderful sex. But there was one episode, and it was a transgender who they were fixing up with their, they do the house, teach them how to cook, they new wardrobe, confidence. And this was a female to male trans. And what was so clear, and they brought up themselves, especially the Indian gay, because they're all gay, so the Indian gay, he said, I had no idea what you were going through and why you want to actually, remove your breasts and all this. And it really accentuated, and it was done purposely, that this idea that LGBTQ is a community of people. My gay brothers and sisters, my LGBTQIAP brothers and sisters, reject this notion. This is actually a fascist tactic. You're being lumped in with a bunch of weirdos. That's really what it is. Oh, you're LGBTQ. No, wow. Q is very different from L from G. Yeah, please, go for it. They know what I'm talking about. Everyone's afraid to say it, except for the one gay guy who started the walk away movement. He's absolutely right. It's what I've been saying for years. It's, because now gay men are the enemy of the LGBTQ community, because it's not a community. But somehow this groupthink has pushed you into that, and it's just a marker. It's like, hey, John, did we do any LGBTQ on the show today? Yep, check. Good. But your issues and your life and your lifestyles and what you want out of life is very different from each other.
It's like the guys who come on the various talk shows and speak somehow for the black community.
Yeah, thank you.
As if they're speaking for the black community. They're speaking for themselves and a few of their buddies.
Exactly. But this LGBTQ thing, and then they have the audacity. When it comes to STEM, and I guess complex problems need diverse people. These are the diverse people are the people who are solving things. Dudes and dudettes named Ben who have always been non-conforming to what people would call
you could say that all you want, but it still takes a high IQ to solve a lot of problems.
Oh, of course. But it's interesting how a lot of very intelligent people always look disheveled. You've got your Einstein look, but you also have your crazy hair left with your piercings look. For some reason in today's world,
or gauging.
I'm sorry?
Or gauging.
Gay. Not my favorite, the gauging tip. I'm not on that. Oh, God. It's like, man, it's like you got your ear blown off with a shotgun. This is just a weird effect.
I don't get it.
Doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And then stretched it out.
It's creepy.
But, now all of a sudden you have to be lumped together as if we can identify you and you're in STEM. And even science, technology, engineering, and math. What does that even mean? But this to LGBTQSTEM, I find it outrageous and highly insulting.
All right. Play the pet peeve theme and let's talk about something else. Jeez. Well, beating it up. Poor people. They're just trying to get people involved in science.
I have a fun little entremont for you.
$10 are all about global warming.
I have a fun entremont. A fun one. And I know where this is coming from. This must be from the Netherlands. I'm fairly certain of it.
Take a look at some of the other stories making headlines this morning. An interesting marketing strategy by drug dealers in north central Indiana. State police seized ecstasy pills dyed orange and shaped like President Trump's head. On the pills, on the back the words "Great Again." Police haven't said how many of the pills were found.
I know that this is ecstasy made in the Netherlands. Only a Dutch person could come up with this. And that's where a lot of your ecstasy pills come from, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, the pill factories. Yeah, Amsterdam is the ecstasy capital of the world.
This is news to me.
Oh, no. That's where they got the big pill presses. And they do all kinds of, it started with smiley faces and then they got really fancy. It's a real Breaking Bad type vibe with, marked in a certain way. And then you got counterfeits. But for them to be an orange pill with Trump's face on it and then "Great Again" on the back, that's Dutch. I'll give that to whoever did that.
You're probably right.
Whoever did that I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, they never said that in the report, did they?
No.
I got a couple of things here.
All right.
First of all, I want to play this Meghan Markle clip, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, or maybe just ask the audience.
Okay. Clip first.
Yeah, play a clip.
And Jesse, Daily Mail is exclusively learning that before Meghan Markle walks down the aisle with Prince Harry, she will have to make a full tax declaration to the IRS, which means she'll have to give them an unprecedented look into the royal family's finances. Meghan will have to declare all of her earnings from suits and state if Prince Harry gave her an allowance of more than $100,000 this past year. She'll also have to declare any money she and Harry have made since they began living together. And like all other Americans, Meghan has until April 17th to get this done. And even though she'll be living full-time in the UK, she will still be forced to file taxes with the IRS every single year.
Okay, I know a lot about this situation.
Well, this is not what I'm going to ask about, though, you think?
Well.
I mean, I do have an issue with this, and my question is, how long will it be before she renounces her citizenship? Because she's not to say that people should do this, but considering what she's up to, she's not an American anymore. Why should she be? She's a British royal. Why should she be?
In fact,
get rid of this.
It's traitorous. Traitorous? That's not
number one.
Treasonous. Treasonous. Traitorous.
Well, traitorous.
I like traitorous.
It's neither's one. Neither's one. Now, the bigger question is, isn't it illegal? And I don't know if it's in the Constitution or it's in some federal laws that you cannot really take a knighthood, let alone the Lady of Sussex.
Yes, it's treasonous. You cannot take on a foreign title.
I think it's against the it's treasonous.
Yep.
So they either have to arrest her.
Yes, good idea.
Immediately when she shows up in the country, or she's going to have to renounce her citizenship. This is never discussed.
You're so right. Wait a minute. What is the law called about? It's no foreign title, U.S. citizen.
It's a foreign title.
Yeah, but I just want to find out exactly what the nobility in America. Here it is. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 of what?
Constitution.
No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States. And no person holding any office or profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. Well, maybe she has consent.
No, she does not have congressional approval.
Well, she needs to get that.
She's never going to get
it. Then she needs to be arrested.
She needs to be arrested immediately.
Arrest Meghan.
Arrest Meghan.
Now, there's something I'll go march for. She is blatantly ignoring the Constitution of the United States of America, and everyone's just fawning over her. John,
nobody mentions any of these facts.
This is a great fact. And it would be so, you know what? Even the M5M could do entertaining work with these facts.
Yeah, no.
That story would have been much more interesting if you could bring in the emoluments clause. Yeah. Donald Trump, you can link it right back to Trump. Perfect.
Yeah, it's an angle for getting at Trump.
Yeah,
sure.
You talk about Megyn with the emoluments. Someone else in hot water is President Trump. See, I can make the bridge myself.
That's exactly how you do it. There's your transition right there.
Yeah, that's your segue.
I got another one that's kind of awkward.
Uh-huh.
So Maxine Waters is out there bitching and moaning.
Yeah, you think?
Still, even though she's been told to not
do it.
But here, I want you to play, not Maxine's history, but play the first one, which is just Maxine, and we get a little idea of what she sounds like.
I am prepared to make whatever sacrifices needed to be made. I am not about to let this country go by the way of Donald Trump. How dare you? How dare you take the babies from mothers' arms? How dare you take the children and send them all across the country into so-called detention centers? You are putting them in cages. You're putting them in jails. And you think we're going to stand by and allow you to do that? I don't think so. My millennials, stay woke.
So she's, of course, Obama did the same thing, but she didn't say anything then. But what got me was this, in this little speech of hers, she kind of rewrites history a little bit. And I want everyone to listen to this because apparently the way slavery ended is not the way I thought it did.
History. Hold on.
Know the history of those who have separated children from their parents. As an African-American woman, I was raised on the stories about what happened on the auction block when they auctioned off Africans. They took the fathers and they sent them one place. They took the mothers and they sent them another place. They took the children, the boys, to work in the farms and to work in the fields, and the girls to work on domestic matters in the big house. Well, we overcame that. We fought against that. We marched, we fought, and we won, and we're going to win again.
All right, sounds legit.
So she says slavery. She's talking about slavery, where they separate everybody.
It's exactly the same thing.
Because of protesting.
Yeah, protesting with guns.
They protested the slaves, and they got out on the streets, and they bitched and moaned, and the next thing you know, slavery was over. We overcame the whole thing because of that. What is she, nuts?
What they were protesting is black people, or the direct genesis of a lot of the protests were black people being shunned from places to eat.
I'm talking about during the era of slavery.
I know, but this is what she's talking about.
What she does is she's mixing her things up.
Of course she's mixing her things up. She's Maxine.
I want you to be queen. My love for you is almost obscene. I really hope you know what I mean. Maxine, Maxine, Maxine.
While on the topic of people who get things mixed up,
I do have a Maxine clip, if you're interested.
Oh, okay. Well, let's stay with her for a second.
I don't think you can ever have too much Maxine.
Well, not really.
So it was Chuck Schumer who bitched her out, although he never called her out by name. But now she's attacking him. Did you see this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I strongly disagree with those who advocate harassing folks if they don't agree with you. If you disagree with a politician, organize your fellow citizens to action and vote them out of office. But no one should call for the harassment of political opponents. That's not right. That's not American.
Were you surprised to have the leadership of your own party come out and essentially call you un-American?
Well, I was surprised that Chuck Schumer, reached into the other house to do that. I've not quite seen that done before, but one of the things I recognize being an elected official is in the final analysis, leadership like Chuck Schumer's will do anything that they think is necessary to protect their leadership. And so what I have to do is not focus on them.
I'm sure that went over well with that Chuck.
Well, actually, if you dig into it, the more she's actually called him a racist.
Oh, hello. Said by the biggest racist of them all. But this is a cool meme that's going around. And
you think she's a racist?
Yeah. Maxine? Yeah. That she doesn't intend to be, but most racial behavior isn't really intended. But yeah, of course she's racist. There's a meme now on the social nets that I still belong to, like Twitter, and it goes as the following. And you always have to do the real Donald Trump, otherwise it doesn't work. You say, when the Democrats win the House this election, then Maxine Waters will be the head of the oversight of something committee, and she will have the power to subpoena Donald Trump's bank records.
I'm reminded of the other side of the aisle and Ron Paul. When Ron Paul gets to be the head of the banking such and such, he is going to audit the Fed.
End the Fed. He wrote a whole book about it.
End the Fed. Nothing happened.
By the way, you recall that when Ron Paul, the grandpa from Texas, who I liked a lot, I endorsed him, when he ran in 2008, I believe.
Yeah.
He was called a racist. Do you remember? It was like
he's called a racist constantly. He's
some
called
newsletter.
A racist recently.
Oh, really? Again?
Yeah, somebody.
Oh, jeez.
It's a weird thing. They just hate him.
Hold on, John, 1 second. I got to drop a breadcrumb. Waters, run deep. SCOTUS, caged. Follow the rabbit. Okay, I'm done.
The hell was that? Okay.
I
got one more clip. We're talking about people that are clueless. I think Whoopi Goldberg falls into that camp. You haven't been doing your job the way I see it.
Oh, you're gonna just because you got a one view clip or something? Is that what this is about?
Yeah, it's exactly what it's about. So I got this chance. So this particular clip, which you should have caught, since it's your beat, is about Chance the Rapper giving a commencement speech about and what he's doing. He's reiterating an Obama meme that is very obvious to most people who are familiar with this. Meanwhile, Whoopi picks it up and goes the other way with it, missing the point altogether again, a little like Maxine would do.
Welcome back. Chance the Rapper was the commencement speaker at Dillard University in New Orleans, and he really gave the graduates a challenge. Take a look.
All of us have a responsibility to be greater than the people who came before us. Beyonce's performance was better than any performance Michael Jackson ever did. Beyonce had Mike. Mike didn't have Mike. Mike had James Brown. James Brown had Cab Calloway, and so on and so on. Right now, the greatest performer who ever lived might very well be in this audience.
Yeah. So, I have to do a chance. Paul Simon said something interesting, and he said, every generation throws a hero up the pop chart. So, the truth is, Beyonce's performance was great for now, as Michael's performance was great for his time, as every performer's time comes, and what you want to do is be the best you, the best you can be. Yeah. And you can't always exceed somebody else. And that's it. I don't think exceeding somebody else should be your goal, because you may not be able to do that. But it doesn't preclude you from being the best you that you can be.
Isn't that Melania's thing too? Be best?
Yes. I don't know.
I think she meant be the best. Yes. She left out the.
Yes.
But
okay, so if you think this is like a good view clip, I mean,
here's why I think it's a good view clip. I want to explain what Chance the Rapper was talking about was that Obama meme where nobody's responsible for being successful or even good. It's the roads that were built.
Right,
it's the infrastructure. And you shouldn't take any credit. This is like leveling the playing field. And what Chance the Rapper was saying is that greatness is built upon greatness, upon greatness, upon greatness. And it's, in other words, it's not you. Michael Jackson was not as good as, I don't agree with the thesis, by the way.
No.
As good as Beyonce, and because Beyonce took from him and on and on. They change it. Just they don't even pay attention to what he said.
No, we're
they
listening.
change it to be the best you can be. He never says that. He never said anything about be the best you can be the best you of you. And they're just making this up. These people are idiots. And I don't want to get I didn't clip it any further, but then Megan McCain, she comes on, and at the end she just goes off the rails and says, well, I don't know. I don't have any singers or actors that are my heroes. So maybe that offends everybody here, but I don't see how they can be heroes and when a nurse should be your hero. And then she's just going on about something else. You know? And it's just that I'm listening to this nonsense. This show is the worst. And so my earlier criticism of you not listening or following the show like you're supposed to, I pull it back. Don't watch this thing anymore.
Well, I usually watch it for things like...
Get out of my vagina! Get out of my vagina! Get out of my vagina!
No, that's the only part that's funny about The View. But...
if you actually listen to these people talk to each other...
No, here's what we need.
It's artificial conversations. It's Joy Behar. She goes off the deep end about Nina Simone. Who cares what she thinks? Well, I mean, the whole thing is
ill, John.
Rotten.
No, they're ill. This is an example. They're ill. They're groupthink ill people, and we need to be able to tag them some way.
I don't know how.
Yeah, but if we could tag someone so you could, you can just go near them like, oh, it's one of those. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab.
So, that would be cool, said no Jew ever. It's not a great idea.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Sir KG, want to stop? We're going to have a few people to thank. Sir KG, $174.75. Recovery karma for his second back surgery. This one was to remove a large portion of the disc between L4 and L5. I don't need these details. Well, the surgery was successful. Recovery is having its ups and downs. My surgery was last Thursday.
Listen to this. And last Thursday morning, and what did I do upon waking up? Boot up my smartphone and start streaming No Agenda.
Yeah, good for him.
Damn. Yeah.
On another note, my wife and I, want to read this, have dined at the Red Hen in Lexington. That's the restaurant we talked about that rousted Sarah Sanders. We have gone to many restaurants in Lexington, and my son just graduated from VMI, which I noticed was not mentioned in any of the news reports. It's a military school.
Yeah, hello.
I saw about this incident. It's a nice, quaint restaurant, perfect for an intimate, romantic dinner. It's also very small, so much so that you can't help but actually talk to other patrons. Yeah, the menu was a bit limited, which is typical of a place like this. To my liking, always looking for nice. But we ordered was delicious and had great presentation. I understand it's a terrific place.
But the reports I'm getting is that almost all restaurants now in the neighborhood, including the Red Hen, are empty. People are so afraid to be seen on the wrong side of whatever argument that it's safer just to not go at all.
Yeah, they may have. I think they may have killed the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, they screwed the pooch.
Yeah, really stupid. And like some restaurateurs say, why are you kicking a customer out unless they're rowdy? I mean, it's just because you don't like them, their politics. Yeah, it's really pathetic.
Stupid. Yeah.
So you're going to pay the price, which is a shame because this apparently was a very good kind of one of those high-end, hoity-toity chez panisse type places. Onward. Cameron Beck in Queensland, Australia, $111.11. He wants some health karma for his grandfather. We'll put that at the end. Baron Latican in Houston, Texas, $100. John Robinet, $100. Yeah. Robert Young, $88.88. I had an Easter egg in the newsletter. I don't know if anyone caught it, but one person at least donated $8,008.
Well, what was the Easter egg?
The Easter egg was the boob. The boob donation. It was over the
Right.
picture of Alex Baldwin screaming for some unknown
and
reason.
I knew that would be it. I knew that would be the one.
Yeah. Well, he's a dude. He's a boob. Robert Young, by the way, in 8888 says, this is from Dick Hertz, residing on Penn Island. Hugh Janus is a notable neighbor who likes
rainbows.
69. By the way, Sir Gray in Roscommon is in Roscommon, Michigan.
Yeah, well, you missed
Deborah
it.
Bradley.
Yeah, Deborah Bradley. Yep.
7569, Deborah Bradley. James Buell in Spring Hill, Tennessee, 7418. Now, these are the last of the well-wishers for the 4th of July Independence Day donation of 7418, starting with James Buell in Spring Hill. Christopher Newbold in Portland, Oregon, 7418. First-time donor, feels great to do so. It's also nice to hear more Portlanders donating. There's hope. Please call out Z as a douche. Douchebag. Love and light. Keith Gibson, 7418. Ivan Imes in San Angelo, Texas, 7418. Sir Bill of the Rock, 7418. Donald Goguen,
I think.
Goguen.
He's from Night of Nines.
Night of Nines. No, this is the Night of Nines, 7418. These are all 7418s. I'll stop saying that. Dodd Vickers, Joseph Schneider in Mill Creek, Washington. Patrick Coble, Sir Patrick Coble. He's our dude named Ben there in Tennessee in the Murfreesboro area. Sir Arrow Knight of the Knots, as in knots. And that concludes our
And he says,
well-wishers.
Thank you for supporting our troops, especially since one of them is mine. My son, Jamison Clark, is currently serving our country in the United States Marine Corps, stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. He's Sir Arrow, Knight of the Knots. And I did want to say Deborah Bradley, it's her birthday. She's on the list. And she wanted to thank her husband for hitting her in the mouth so many years ago. I presume you're still married.
And then she started, yeah. She was already listening to the show. I'm sorry, I couldn't organize the joke properly. And Sir Arrow Knott is the
last one on our list. Yeah.
Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's only a total of 10. But, what are you going to do? Ivor Vandervelde.
No, we have Jason David first.
Oh, Jason David in Groton, Connecticut. Shout out somebody.
Jordan Barron of Pearl Harbor, hitting him in the mouth about 3 years ago. And he requested deducing. We'll do that at the end. He's up for an advancement board and could use some karma, so that's coming as well. Deducing.
Please send some travel karma. We'll put that at the end for Ivar Vandervelde. 5510.
Mm-hmm.
Vandervelde. Paul Baldassi in Grimsby, Ontario, 5474. In the house karma again at the end. Michael Gates, 5280, and the following people are $50 donors. And we have more than last time, that's for sure. We only have one. Bradley Ledden, Todd Moore in Arlington, Michael D. Bowen in Highlands Beach, Colorado, Mike Kleckner in Ewing, New Jersey, 73. And actually, 73. It's KD2 FDX.
Yeah, 73 is Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie. It's his birthday today. We'll thank him as well.
Sir Josh
congratulate him. Yep.
Sir Josh Defaball, 50. Scott E. Knight in Las Vegas. Anonymous Paul Vander Cordelar.
Van Cordelar.
In Ulmeden.
IJmuiden.
The I and the J on this with this font looks like a U. Villarreal in Mercedes, Tennessee.
Texas, not Tennessee.
I always say that.
Well, you thought the bionic eye would help.
Well,
it's not.
Well, maybe dyslexia. It's a late onset dyslexia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sticking with that.
That's good.
It's a good one. Anyone can use it.
Yeah, you can think, hey, maybe let me feel you. I can't see any so good anymore. Let me feel your face.
Matthew Januszewski, Sir Matthew, I believe, at this point, Chicago. And finally, Robert Clayson in London, UK, $50. And I think he's a knight. He should be Sir Robert. He's not. He should be. They want to thank all these folks for contributing to show 1048. Appreciate every one of them for helping produce this show.
Yeah, thank you all very much. And also, huge thanks to everyone who came in under $50, whether it's, let me see, we had a couple who clearly want to remain anonymous, but then we also have our 3333s. That's our boarding pass. We've got, I see some 1776s come in. That's interesting. Oh, nice. Some people donated $17.76. Yeah, that is cool. I'm not going to mention their name because it's under the anonymous level.
There are lots of them. There's 3.
Yeah, it was nice. Well, it was nice, though. It was very good. And we appreciate it. This is what makes it work. It is our value for value proposition. We're not going to sue anybody in the EU for our content being placed everywhere. In fact, we encourage it. Please spread it widely. As wide as you can. Copy it, do whatever you want. We don't track it. I have no idea how many downloads we have. I'd never look at it. When's the last time we looked at that? 7 years ago? 6 years ago?
Doesn't help.
It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't help.
But all that counts is what people contribute to keep the show going.
Yeah. The system seems to be working.
There's only one person listening to this show, and they're using all these fake names.
That's fine.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. We had a good time. I show up for work. I like it. I'm working throughout the week. I'm preparing. I get to talk to you for the 3 hours twice a week. I mean, what better life could you think of? I know. Everyone went.
I can think of quite a few now that you mention it.
And we also have a couple of. Well, first I want to thank everybody again. And remember, we got another show coming up on Sunday.
Dvorak.org.
There we go.
/NA.
A special F cancer for those who need it, especially for Chris Wilson's keeper. Apparently she's doing okay. But I do just want to keep a little extra on there for her. And we've got some jobs, karma, and birthdays coming up.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And here's your list for today, July 5th, 2018. Mike Kleckner turns 47 years old. We say happy birthday to him. Deborah Bradley celebrating. And Sebastian Paul says happy birthday to Alina. She celebrated her birthday yesterday on Independence Day, July 4th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. No nights, no title changes, no nothing. Makes that part of the show easy for me. Easy.
I don't just drag. They're just going to rust into in the sheath.
Oh, let me see. Oh, yes, we had a 6-week cycle-like event. Another patsy. I guess the FBI, I'm not sure if the field office was just bored or what it was, but what we've identified over the years, and we first identified this as a 6-week cycle. Before Trump...
because it was a 6-week cycle for at least 2 years.
Yeah, before Trump was elected, really.
It was the Mueller cycle.
Ooh.
It was actually before Comey got in. When Comey got in, he busted it up.
You're right. It was the Mueller cycle. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. But it's back. And the way it works is you find some guy who has a low IQ. And he's probably been trolling around looking at ISIS.
Yeah, he's impressionable.
Yeah, looking at ISIS propaganda, and you go in and say, "Hey, buddy, wouldn't you like to go blow something up?" And you facilitate everything, and then just as he's about to press the fake button on the fake cell phone in the fake car with the fake explosives, you bust him and throw a press conference. Am I right?
In a nutshell.
His target, federal investigators say, was Cleveland's July 4th parade and fireworks show.
By the way, when this came out, I was pissed because we forgot to remind everybody July 4th is when your government terrorizes you. And that's our public service. We neglected to tell everyone this. And also, there was zero reporting on, terrorists bringing down airplanes. That ended this year. I'd like to make note of that. Not every year, as far as I can remember back to 9/11, extra, always talking about, we got to have special security, whether it's Thanksgiving holiday weekend or July 4th weekend, which is now week. Remember that was always, we don't want terrorists killing us up, bringing down airplanes. That's over. It's done.
His target, federal investigators say, was Cleveland's July 4th parade and fireworks show. Prosecutors say a tip about pro-jihadist social media postings by 48-year-old Demetrius Pitts got their attention. 2 weeks ago, he began meeting with someone he thought was an al-Qaeda operative who turned out to be an FBI agent working undercover. Court documents say Pitts told the agent a week ago what would hit them in their core, have a bomb to blow up the 4th of July parade. Agents say he used his phone to photograph possible sites to attack with a car bomb, including the fireworks park.
Just yesterday, he discussed giving remote control cars packed with explosives and shrapnel to the children of our military uniform members.
But it was all talk. The FBI says Pitts never had any explosives and said he just wanted to scout locations, not carry out the attacks, and was so unprepared the undercover agent gave him a bus pass to conduct his scouting trip. But law enforcement officials say he was determined to be a terrorist.
Oh, yeah. Law enforcement, of course, cannot sit back, in this case, wait for Mr. Pitts to commit a violent act.
The FBI says agents arrested him yesterday after he talked about trying to plan another attack for later this year in Philadelphia, his hometown.
You know, I'm so tired of this waste of money and resources, and that's just the press conference part. Come on, the guy's posting something weird, and you honey trap him instead of, you know, why don't you say, hey, bro, what's wrong with you? Let's sit down. We're from the FBI. You know, we got your eye on you now. We're going to make sure that you understand that, you know, you get help.
Well, that's the difference between policing and law enforcement. I mean, they just go by the book and say, entrap the guy. I mean, it is pathetic because most of these people can be just sat down and scared and actually maybe turn positives. They'd say, well, if you want to keep this up, maybe we can help. You can help us catch some people.
Yeah, catch some people. Exactly. Yeah, thank you. Whatever happened to that idea to catch the bigger fish? That doesn't seem to be that because they're probably lying about half of what happened here. And you read the affidavit, and it's just disturbing.
They're doing, you know, there's something sick about it. I think there's some sick humor involved. I think they're laughing about it.
Really?
They think it's funny.
Really?
I work for the government. Oh, yeah, really?
No. Well, that's disturbing.
Yeah, it is disturbing. I'm sorry I had the thought, but I can see it easily. What do you think we get? This guy is so stupid.
This FBI stuff has got to stop. Let's just get rid of it. Hey, we should replace the FBI, not ICE. Shoot. Give ICE the FBI stuff.
Now you're talking.
Right? That's super annoying.
Yeah, they already have the I.
Yeah, they don't have to change much on the jacket. You know, they can just
do letters.
Paste it over. Just paste the letters over.
Yeah.
I wanted to respond. Someone asked me on Twitter to explain this, and I'm happy to do it because I have some standing in the area. There is, and again, this is just the latest outrage. I don't know if it'll reach peak, but Melania Trump is getting paid $1 million for her pictures being used by the press and in positive stories only. Have you heard this?
No, but it sounds very dubious.
Well, what happened? And of course, the way the meme is spread is, you know, that it's the emoluments clause once again. You know, they're just profiting off the American people and their fame. Blah. So let me explain what's going on. There's a series of photographs of Melania and her family, and this series was made by a pretty famous Belgian photographer. Not famous enough for me to remember his name, but oh yes, Regine Mahot, may even be a she. And it's 187 photos in total, and they've been licensed to Getty, which is how a lot of people don't know how photography works in this day and age. But you know why paparazzi are always like just fighting to get a shot of a celebrity and to get it first? That's the whole reason. The most exclusive or the most crazy shot you can get of the person, the subject, to get it first is worth a lot of money. I would say anywhere
paparazzi getting up to $10,000 for one shot.
$5,000 to $10,000 for a real primo shot.
Normally it's a few hundred, but you can get a lot of money if you hit the right button.
Yeah, and then you sell it to the agency, and of course then there's reprint rights, using it again. And so you can't just take a photo willy-nilly and use it for your publication. I've sued gossip magazines over taking one of my pictures from Flickr, I think it was, and just putting it in their magazine. I said, well, you owe me money because I have the copyright on that. In fact, I had Creative Commons, and that was a groundbreaking lawsuit because it was the first time Creative Commons was applied in court. And I won. I didn't win any money, of course. It was Holland, but I won. If they do it again, then I make bank, but that'll never happen. So anyway, it's very common for a photographer, and this is a bunch of really, let's just say golden crusted photo series. What did I say?
You said I make bank.
Yeah, I know. Didn't you like that? Yeah, well, I do. I'll make bank.
Hey, groovy, man. Yeah.
I make bank. So the photographer makes a deal with one or more press agencies like Getty. They do photography, and anyone who wants to use that picture can pay, and then a portion goes back to typically just the photographer in most cases. But I can see how someone who has made money off of her image exclusively as a model, and she's not a supermodel or anything, she's a top model, made a lot of money, through her image. It's not uncommon for her. I have one of those deals. And of course, the photo's never used, but you will get a piece of that, like a royalty off of a record if you had a sample used or something like of that ilk. So now all the reporting says somewhere between $100,000 and $1 million. So of course it becomes $1 million, and then it's for every photograph taken. But no, it's for these photos. If someone would want to use this, and the stipulation is you can only use it for a positive story, which is that if they want that, that's fine. It's not going to get used a lot. But when you see the pictures, it's the one of the three of them in the gold apartment with everything's gold, just dripping with gold. Of course, someone would love to use that with the headline, "Look at this shithead, where's your golden toilet?" or something like that, I can imagine. Yeah, so you just restrict that. So that's the story. I mean, there's not much to it. It's just a big.
And by the way, if they're going to do stories like this about busting her for this thing, they can go to the agency that owns the photo and actually get the real price.
Yeah.
They don't have to guess the price at $100,000. It's probably pretty reasonable.
They don't know that's how much she's made so far. They have no idea, and the agency's not going to tell them how many times they've sold it, but they can certainly get the price and then go look for publications and figure it out.
They can get the price, at least you know what it is for a one-time use.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter because...
Probably about $5,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But $5,000 for one-time use, you mean? Or, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Someone asked me to explain that, and I thought, most people probably don't know how it works. But that is the whole reason for paparazzi. It's not just the paparazzi are just there for one thing and one thing only: money. And if they get that great shot of you, especially if you're angry and looking in the camera, or Britney Spears, that must have made a lot of money. When she wasn't wearing any panties, getting out of the limo. You remember that?
I don't know if it made that much money because it could only be used. Well, the tabloids.
No, the tabloids. Yeah, it was used a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They pay good bank.
They pay bank. They pay
good
bank. They pay good bank. They could pay good bank, man.
Good bank, man.
Oh, you just smacked your lips to boot.
But the lip smacking that goes on network TV is beyond belief.
Do you have an example?
No, but I do have an example on network TV. Well, this is not quite network. This is CNN. This is a CNN clip where I was talking about this sort of gaffe. A CNN clip of this woman, Simone something. She's taught at Harvard.
She was a Bernie Sanders campaign press person, I think.
Yeah, and she gave a course at Harvard. She makes us know that for sure. She got into a beef with
I saw this with Don Lemon. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you clipped it.
Well, the reason I thought it was interesting, because I want you to count the number of times she says, "fact of the matter."
Yeah. I'm glad you clipped this.
That the people outside should be listening to about strategy, about long-term goals, about playing the long game, about not having a litmus test for candidates. Because every Republican knew what Donald Trump said, what he stood for. A lot of them weren't on board. There were a lot of never Trumpers. But when it came down to election time, or to back him, at least in front of the cameras, what did they do? They backed him. And they voted for him.
But Don, if I may, I just want to make a point here. Look, I taught a whole class at Harvard about this past semester. The fact of the matter is the Democratic Party is a party of disparate factions that have organized under an umbrella of quote-unquote shared values, which can be debatable. You put 5 progressives in a room, they might tell you the party stands for 5 different things.
And this is what you get.
So to equate with to equate the Republican Party to the Democratic Party, I think is not understanding how the parties are in fact made up. The fact of the matter is,
Simone, I disagree with you. Listen, it's not understanding how elections work and how elections have consequences. Because there were people who were on the Democratic side, many of them, including Bernie Sanders supporters, who were shouting down allies, Hillary Clinton, whether you liked Hillary Clinton or not. I'm saying the same thing that I said about Donald Trump. Whether you like them or not, whether you liked Hillary Clinton or not, I am just questioning the strategy and the intelligence of shouting down an ally and damaging a candidate, and then all of a sudden you get this. That's all I'm saying. Everybody jumped on the Republican side on Donald Trump.
I will make a quick 20-second point. I will make a 20-second point on this. The fact of the matter is the Democratic Party ad nauseum failed to, together, this is a collective effort, we failed to make the courts a motivating factor in 2016. That's the result of all the polling I've seen, all the focus groups I've sat in, and the many places that I'm at. I'm sitting in Indianapolis, Indiana, right now today, where Senator Donnelly is in a fight that I think he can win. So the fact of the matter is we can pontificate about what happened in 2016.
Oh, man. Yeah. And it's interesting that I watched that clip and was listening to the topic and didn't really catch the incessant fact. Oh, let me see what this is on the fact of the matter.
It's the fact of the matter. It's the fact of the matter. It's the fact of the matter. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I forgot about that one.
Well, the other thing that was funny is he's talking about being shouted down, or she's talking about it, and he starts shouting her down on the show, and she says, "Oh, Lordy," he says,
"Lordy,
of it,
Lordy." Sad news.
Yeah.
Ed Schultz died.
Ed Schultz, the guy in the RT?
Yeah, 64.
Jeez.
Natural causes, according to sources. This is the guy who got kicked off MSNBC, went to RT, and then Putin killed him, and what happened?
Doesn't make any sense. He was the biggest. We had some clips of him. He used to go nuts.
I got a clip here. What's this clip? I don't know what it is. It's just random.
The submarine activity. If the Pentagon has detected some type of ejection from a North Korean submarine, who knows whether their stealth ability is there or not. They could park off Los Angeles or off the West Coast and deliver something from the submarine. Isn't that the real concern for the United States right now?
Without question. I mean, remember, when we're talking about a nuclear weapon.
No, there's that. What is this one?
A surprise announcement tonight from one of the most high-profile business leaders in America, Starbucks chairman and CEO Howard Schultz.
No, this is wrong Schultz.
Wrong Schultz.
Go find if there's something that has to be really old, because he used to do these huge rants about Republicans.
Maybe this. What is this?
Just moments ago, the United States Senate voted 62 to 36. This was the scene in the United States Senate. Only 36 Democrats voted no on the Keystone they wanted in the Senate. They got a yes. To me, there's no amendment that is worthy of a Democratic vote. There's no amendment.
Yeah, I don't know.
Never mind. Well, that was just the point is he used to really go off. I mean, he would go nuts.
Yeah, I can't say that I miss him now that I don't have any good clips.
Yeah. Anyway, he would go nuts. And then when he went to RT, he kind of became an apologist for Trump.
Yeah, well, he was a puppet for Putin.
He was that could be. He was a chameleon in terms of, he was just a professional entertainer. And just changed sides for the money. But yeah, it's too bad.
Hey,
he was actually pretty good. He was a very good presenter on RT, I'd say.
We didn't have that many clips of him, surprisingly. Or maybe they were not.
Yeah, we didn't know, but if I didn't follow him that close, you didn't follow him, so we didn't follow him. So, yeah.
Well, here's something for your
wheel. Wasn't that? You're right. He wasn't that funny.
No, not to us. Here's something from your wheelhouse, which you apparently have missed. And
getting back at me.
Angela Ponce won the Miss Universe crown for Spain, and now will compete internationally.
This is the transsexual.
She's trans. Yeah, she's trans. Yeah. Didn't we predict that would happen? But we didn't expect it to be this year.
We predicted it would happen, and we didn't have any timeline on it. We could have happened any time, and it happened. I'm waiting for the time that the one that I'm waiting for is something similar to that singer. That
with the beard.
With the beard, I think having a Miss Universe with a beard.
I like that. I think that that's I agree.
Oh, I think that'll get some attention. People will be tuning in to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I'm sorry. It's really bad.
Identify as a female. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's we've had real troubles with the connection. It seems whenever you say something in an animated fashion, if you go up in your level of decibels,
I could be overmodulating and killing the connection.
Okay. Too late now.
I have to back off. Back off.
Thanks for thinking of that.
Who knows?
I did want to play just a minute and a half of Kathy Griffin on ABC's Nightline.
Oh, God. Okay.
And I get maybe it only works with video, but just hearing her will be good enough. I think she's an alien. And if you look at her head, everyone should go ahead and pop open a browser and being a close up of Kathy Griffin's head, she looks like one of those male aliens. Now she has the very short hair because she shaved her hair for her sister's cancer. But I don't know, she looks like an alien, and here's what she had to say.
All right, so let's talk about the picture.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
Really? Can't you have a different question that I've been asked for a year and a half? You're ABC.
No, that's the only reason you're interesting.
Act like it.
That's the exact question you get every time? What were you thinking?
Yes!
What were you thinking?
Okay, so here's two things. Number one, obviously I wanted to shame him. It, as I refer to Trump. It. I wanted to shame it. I don't believe it's human. And what I was thinking was some sort of a send-up. And believe it or not, I'm not a Megyn Kelly fan, but I do remember him saying famously, as you do, there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. And I was doing a wacky photo shoot, and I thought, all right, let's get, a Halloween Trump mask, put a bunch of ketchup on it, and see if he likes it when there's blood coming out of his wherever.
How is it not an invocation of violence? In what way is it not?
It's a photo. Have you seen the cover of Der Spiegel? Have you seen any of the famous, iconic covers of magazines? You could take any one of them and accuse them of inciting violence. Also, I'm Kathy Griffin, the comedian. So it's not like I'm not an elected. I'm not a general.
Now, what she just said here, I'm not an elected, I'm not a general, that's alien speak. That's what they call it whatever planet she's from. I think they call it an elected.
An elected. I'm not an elected.
And I'm not a general. I mean, who comes up with that? I think these are whatever alien planet she's from. I'm pretty sure that they have electeds and they have generals.
I'm
not going to argue against this thesis.
So it's not
if
like
you're hoping for the.
Yeah, that's all I want.
I'm not an elected. I'm not a general. I'm not an anchor person, doing the evening news. It's me.
Does that mean there are no lines for you?
There's no lines for me.
There's no lines for me. What I was waiting for is you to call Theremin. That's what we were missing.
You got it yourself. I forgot about that. Yeah. I was remiss.
Yes, it's okay. But I'm not an elected. I don't know. But it just kind of all came together when you see her. Gee, man, you look kind of weird.
She seems like kind of an excitable alien. I can see that.
Yeah, excitable.
The thing is, I can't disagree with this.
Excitable.
But weird things. What is with her?
An excitable alien. I like that. Let's see. I do have 2 actual content-filled clips. I don't want to just do throwaway stuff as we end the show. Canadians
my stuff's all good. I don't have throwaway stuff.
Oh, go ahead then.
Well, maybe the Mad Woman versus the Daily Caller is kind of throwaway.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to play it now.
All right. Do you have something non-throwaway? Because I have 2.
I think this is an interesting clip. This is the pot legal, but banned on the East Coast. I find this to be very peculiar that the East Coast, you don't play this and you'll self-explain.
Tomorrow, Massachusetts will become the first East Coast state to allow the sale of recreational marijuana. 9 states plus Washington, D.C. have legalized pot for adults, though Vermont and Washington, D.C. have continued to bar sales, and Maine has yet to begin them. Marijuana is still federally illegal, and many municipalities in Massachusetts have banned or temporarily blocked the pot industry.
Isn't it weird that this is the liberals' stranglehold on if they have any one state, it's Massachusetts? I mean, you can't elect a Republican there, and they won't sell the marijuana. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why everybody's so back east? Why they're so reluctant to even take part in the sales and taxation and all the good that's supposed to come out of legalized marijuana? And these are the most liberal people in the world.
That's a good point.
This is why I was always shocked when California didn't vote for it immediately and Colorado got the credit for being the pioneer. What the hell's going on here?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I really don't know. But now you mention it. Well, I'm sure we'll get a lot of theories about that, but I'd love to hear.
I don't think there's a good one.
You never know. You never know. Let me see. What do you have? There's so much stuff. We should push a lot of this stuff to Sunday, some good things. Although this is, all right, semi-throwaway, but the Dutch Prime Minister Rutte was visiting President Trump in the White House and did one of those sit-downs and where the president says, is our best ally. Well, it used to be our closest ally. That's what Obama said all the time. Didn't he say that to everybody? Our closest ally, our best ally.
Yeah. Well, all these guys do that.
Well, but Trump does more like, we do good business. We do good business. And Mark Rutte, who is, we've talked about him, a baby face. He's in the people. I don't think people are very happy with the job he's doing. And they just bitch about him a lot. And then, so some people thought it was fantastic in the Netherlands that here's someone who spoke truth to power. He stood up to the evil Trump. A lot of the country was laughing about it, but here's what went down. And you will have to think about the Dutch accent when you listen to him speak, yes?
It's a great honor to have the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. That's the official title. That sounds very elegant.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Beautiful, but it's a great honor to have you. We've worked together and have a very, very close relationship. I think the relationship with the Netherlands has never been better than it is now. We'll be meeting over the next 2 weeks again at NATO. And we'll be discussing that today also. And we are discussing trade and the EU and lots of other things. Tremendous numbers are coming out of the United States and our government. Our economy is very good. It's probably the best it's ever been. And we are very close to making some very good trade deals, fair trade. I didn't want to say good. I want to say fair. Fair trade deals for our taxpayers and for our workers and our farmers. And a lot of good things are happening. I think the EU, we're going to be meeting with them fairly soon. They want to see if they can work something out. And that'll be good. And if we do work it out, that'll be positive. And if we don't, it'll be positive also because we'll just think about those cars that pour in here and we'll do something, right? We have to work. But it'll be positive. But again, Mr. Prime Minister.
So he said, no. Well, the elites in Holland were cheering. He said no. If you saw it, he said no. He said no to the Trump.
What did he say no to?
The Trump saying, even if we don't get a trade deal, it'll be beautiful. And the guy's, no, we must get a trade deal. There's no. So Trump is saying, if we get a trade deal, it's going to be great. If we don't get a trade deal, it's going to be great. And the guy goes, no.
We'll just...
Hold on.
We're going to be meeting with them fairly soon. They want to see if they can work something out, and that'll be good. And if we do work it out, that'll be positive. And if we don't, it'll be positive also, because we'll just think about those cars that pour in here. And
Hero, overnight hero amongst the elites. So brave. No, I don't.
Oh, brother.
You want to hear him talk a little bit, the Dutch Prime Minister? It's pretty funny.
Do something, right? We have to work. But it'll be positive. But again, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for being here.
It's good to be here. And can I add to this that the relationship between the Netherlands and the United States is over 400 years old.
Yeah. Yes.
Allies, we have always been friends, always been friendly, working closely together. And our talks today will no doubt concentrate on jobs and on security. Because the President and I, we are both convinced that as leaders, our prime task...
And Trump is looking at him like, leader like me, dude.
...is essentially to make sure that our countries are safe and stable, and that we have an economy which is providing the jobs and the future growth for our people. And there are so many opportunities between the United States and the Netherlands to do more, both in the area of security as well as in the area of having more jobs and having more trade and more investments.
Did he say trades? They said trades, I think. Trades. We're going to do some trades? What kind of trades you got?
Netherlands to do more, both in the area of security as well as in the area of having more jobs and having more trade and more investments. Already almost 1 million people, 825,000 in a job in the US because of Dutch investments, and 250,000 people in a job because of US investments in the Netherlands.
Well, thank you so much. It's great. Mark, go back home now, boy. He went right back home and said, there will be no referendum over referendums.
Yeah.
It's true.
Whatever that means.
Well, they had a referendum, which is legal by Dutch standards. And this was about the MH17, I think. They had a referendum, and which means they have to take that as advice from the people, and they didn't. In fact, they said, not only that, but referendums are no good. We're going to just get rid of them. And then people said, well, how about we have a referendum about holding referendums? And said, no, not going to have that either. Shut up, slave. Just shut up. Shut up. Finally got it in.
All right.
And then I have a Canada trade thing if you're interested, because I don't know.
Well, if you're going to do that, then I get to do one more too.
Yeah. Okay.
Mine was about pot the last time. The next one's about pot.
Well, let me do this one about trade first, and then we sandwich the trade inside the pot.
Okay, got it.
All right. So do you know what tariffs we do or don't have with Scandinavia right now?
No, of course not.
Okay. It's very unclear to me. But the Scandinavians in this report are angry.
With its whimsical decor and eye-catching color, Lala Bistro is making a statement on the streets of Buckingham. But its impact is being felt far beyond the borders of this area of Gatineau.
In response to Trump? Yeah. That's awesome. Right on.
Inside, this eclectic artsy restaurant is serving up wholesome fare. But not on the menu anymore, Californian wines and anything else the restaurant owners can ditch with a Made in America stamp.
We have to do something that to be a stand-up of country, that it's enough, it's enough.
He learned that's going to cost a lot of money for the people of Canada.
It's these comments over recent days that have fueled the desire to fight back in a calm Canadian sort of way by boycotting American goods.
Until this is done fairly and until they fix this mess, I don't want to be bullied, and I don't want my country to be bullied either.
President Trump is doing is wrong, and it's going to harm not only Canadians but all of North America.
On its Facebook site, Lala Bistro is overwhelmed with support from other businesses and residents, pledging to follow suit, even coming to the restaurant to show it. We agree with what they're doing here, says this woman. That's why we came to this restaurant today. Why not show our support by eating here?
We need more people. We need more businesses to stand up.
Will it have an impact? Well, every little bit counts. Even one tiny restaurant in a corner of Quebec that most Americans have never heard of, at least not until now.
I salute anyone who takes a stand. I mean, this is the way we use our strength and fight back peacefully.
Money talks.
Money talks, for sure.
So they're boycotting our stuff, man.
Right on. So a couple of terms. By the way, it drives me nuts when people. I've bitched about this before. I don't like hearing right on.
I know.
It's from the 60s.
I mean, get with it.
And I don't like hearing, oh, wow, which I'm starting to hear way too much. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Again, from the 60s. And I want to point out the one that's missing in the trio is
Groovy. Yeah, groovy, baby.
I haven't seen that come up to the extent that right on and oh, wow.
I'm going to use groovy. Groovy, man.
Yeah, I think groovy was ruined by Austin Powers. I think that's the reason it never got back into play.
I just don't like that we're, here's my thinking on all these tariffs. I don't think there'll be much real actual tariff action happening. It feels to me like this is some kind of spring action that is being wound back really, really, really tight. And then everything's going to start settling, and it'll be in like a couple days succession, boom, 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 and then poof, stock market explodes.
I hope so, but I don't know what's going to happen. And I think that this is the story that you just played was extremely juvenile. Juvenile by the people. We're not going to drink California wine.
I knew that would get you. I knew that would get you. We're not going to wear our blue jeans today. You know what? Outside of people, of course, who are woke and listen to this podcast, I hereby, with the full backing of the United States of America, forbid you from wearing blue jeans. There, verboten.
Verboten.
Don't let me catch you wearing blue jeans.
Well, so I have my last clip, which is legalized. Canada's legalized pot across the whole country, just to spite us.
Smart guys, very smart. Hey, man, we don't have any California wine, but this is good. This is groovy.
Canada has become only the second nation in the world to legalize marijuana for recreational purposes. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced today that Canadians will be able to buy and use recreational marijuana on October 17th. It's a move that Trudeau says will protect Canada's children, saying on Twitter, quote, "It's been too easy for our kids to get marijuana and for criminals to reap the profits."
Our shift in policy will protect youth from the health and safety risks of cannabis and keep those same criminals from profiting from its production, distribution, and sale.
Medicinal use of marijuana has been legal in Canada since 2001. Uruguay was the first country to fully legalize the drug last year.
I never heard the Uruguay story.
Oh. I want to say I heard it, but it seemed like Uruguay.
I knew about Portugal, but they didn't even mention Portugal.
Well,
I think they just decriminalized.
Yeah, and that's been, what, 15, 16 years now?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, real long time.
Nobody wants to talk about that working.
Well, I don't think they'll legalize weed before we leave Texas, or at least Austin. I don't see that happening very quickly, but they should. Would calm some people down
here.
A
bunch of liberals running the Austin.
That's the problem. That's exactly the problem. All right, everybody. We'll see if we can fix these. I'm going to say it. These glitches. And we will bring you more quality deconstruction on Sunday with our show. Remember us until then at dvorak.org/NA. We do need all the help we can get, as always, particularly in the summer months. But thanks again for everybody for supporting the show today. Our artists, our troll room, our end-of-show mixologists, and coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on all the governmental maps in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Until Sunday, remember us at dvorak.org/NA and adios, mofos! I need a cab, John.
Cab. Oh, there's one.
Donate to a No Agenda. They give ushers week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
This is a bunch of scumbags. That's what they are. Hello? You are out of order.
You are always out of order.
You are out of order. Shut up.
Though she started down south, her charm was left behind. Every time she opens her mouth, proves she's lost her mind. Her palm's been greased so often, it's like a jar of Vaseline. Yeah. For her kind of rotten, there is no vaccine. Maxine Waters got crazy in her eyes. Maxine Waters.
His arms around Putin while Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
She won't live in South Central, 'cause she gets too uptight. She don't like the ghetto, so she moved where everybody's white. A $5 million mansion, where'd she get the cash to put down? She took affirmative action. Can't swim and now they're gonna drown in Maxine Waters. She's so full of lies. Maxine Waters.
No, it's classified and we can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility.
Some label her a traitor, 'cause her words are so obscene. She's a master race painter, makes a nightmare of the American dream. Her wallet's getting fatter, politics made her rich. Do black lives really matter to the queen of the poverty pimps? Maxine Waters, she can't reclaim her time.
Okay.
Reclaim
Matter of
my
fact,
time.
Maxine Waters.
you didn't leave a message.
Reclaiming my
Spoke to
time.
the chief
Reclaiming my
oversight
time.
council.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you very much, and I yield back the balance of my time.
This liberal will be all about socializing. Would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
I'd like for you to repeat that.
So my final question to you, Congressman Engel.
No, you have not. Excuse me.
Talking to me.
We are finally going to lead again. You see what's happening. You see the rockets going up left and right. You haven't seen that for a long time. Very soon we're going to Mars. You wouldn't have been going Mars if my opponent won. That I can tell you. Space Force. Space Force.
Air power. Space power. AEF. I said. Air power. Space power. AEF.
Space Force. Space Force. Space Force. Space Force.
With Space Force.
Space Force.
I said. Air power. Space power. AEF.
We are finally going to lead again. We are finally going to lead again. You see what's happening? You see the rockets going up left and right. You haven't seen that for a long time. Very soon we're going to Mars.
Space Force. Space Force.
Air power! Space power! AEF!
Force. Space Force. Force. Space Force.
All right, man. Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, Blitz 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, Trump and that Vietnam War. Yeah. Blitz 5, 6, 7, 8. We all know the love Trump page. Blitz F-U-C-K-T-R-U-M-P. Hey, hey, what's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? Groovy, let's get on down to Washington and tell Trump to end that Vietnam War.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
That's it. We're going off the grid.